under clear blue skies, only slightly lighter than the playing surface tonight. We are set for 2 of the 3 undefeateds in the WAC. It's Fresno State and it's Boise State. Hi, everybody, and good evening. Welcome to College Football Friday Night. I'm Steve Levy. Last season, Boise State and Fresno State finished tied for second in the WAC. Fresno State was tapped for a bowl game. Boise State went home, despite the fact that during the regular season meeting in Fresno, the best quarterback on the field was not David Carr. Ryan Dinwiddie, nearly 300 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, including the game-winning touchdown pass halfway through the 4th quarter. And he, Rod Gilmore, says he's healthy, but he's not the starting quarterback tonight.
Well, you know, he broke his ankle early in the season, early September, but he's back. We saw him in practice yesterday. In the biggest game of the year, he looked good to me. He was rolling around, throwing the ball very well, moving off that ankle, and I think he is ready. I don't think he's hurting. He told us after practice he didn't feel any pain. He was ready to go.
B.J. Rhode will get the start. Tough to argue with his numbers. The last 3 games with Rhode as the quarterback, they've had 50-plus points on the scoreboard, Heather Cox.
And Steve, the topic of who should start at quarterback has been heated debate here locally. Just how involved is this town? Well, for the last 2 weeks, it's been the only topic of conversation around the water cooler, on talk radio, even the local paper dedicated the entire front page to who should start and the decision to start Rhode. They also had a point counterpoint with their editors as well as a readers poll, and yes, 63% of the locals decided that Rhode should get the start. Now Ryan will play. He'll get the first series of the 2nd quarter. After that, it's a coach's decision as to who's going to finish out the game. Steve?
Dan Hawkins, the man who made the decision. Hawkins said it was emotionally difficult, but otherwise it wasn't. He went to Ryan and said, look, one day you'll be a head coach. Presented with the numbers I presented you, you've got to understand why we start Rhode in the game tonight. Austin Asparuhov is set to kick it away for Fresno State. And Boise State in the blue and on the blue. David Michael, 3 yards deep in his end zone, is upended shy of the 20-yard line. And there is B.J. Rhode. He is 5-0 as starting quarterback, 4-0 this season. Heather mentioned the 63% in the local poll. His completion percentage is at 65%. And Brock Forsey is the star running back, went over 200 yards a week ago. Jay Swilly, one of the starting wide receivers, has been suspended for this game, a violation of team rules, and we'll get into that as the night progresses. First down, N10 from their own 18-yard line. Send the man in motion, near side. That's Lou Fanucchi. And Rhode will pass. Hits Forsey, the screen out of the backfield. It'll go as a loss of 4 yards on the play. The offensive line for Boise State. The guys in the middle, Navis Huff and Vian are the leaders. The matchup, Scott Huff against Jason Stewart, might be the key matchup in this football game. Stewart's the heart of that middle of the line for Fresno State. There's Ryan Dinwiddie awaiting his chance. Again, this might not be a one-series kind of thing for Dinwiddie. If he plays well first series, 2nd quarter, he could go the rest of the way. It depends a lot on Rhode as well. He's throwing again, and Rhode is completing to the 24-yard line. That's Lou Fanucchi able to make the play. And the linebackers for Fresno State, they are finally at full strength. Sam Williams, one of their top linebackers, he will play today, returning from an injury. And there, the defensive backs, Cameron Worrell is the top tackler on this Bulldog defense. 3rd down and 4 for Rhode. He's opened up a pass plays. They'll continue to pass. Heavy pressure, and it is dropped. Would have had the first down. Tim Gilligan could not hang on. Fresno State brought some people. Rhode hung in there, but it was Gilligan who couldn't come up with the play.
Oh, B.J. Rhode saw the blitz coming from the wide side of the field. Read it perfectly, but he seemed to hesitate in getting the ball to his receiver over the middle.
So Keith Shuttler is back to punt.
And for the Broncos, number 37,
Adam Jennings and DeAndre Gilbert are back deep for Fresno State, and they should have excellent field position for their first series. A little bit of a low snap. Shuttler gets it away. It's a low line drive kick. It's taken by Jennings, and he is belted down at the 27-yard line. Turns out to be a pretty good punt. And the special teams hit by Donnie Heck is one of the running backs. It's a 44-yard punt. Paul Pinegar is the starting quarterback. Like Rhode, he came into the season as second on the depth chart. We told you about the start back for Boise State. Well, Rodney Davis went over 200 yards rushing last week as well. First down and 10 from the 30-yard line. Two receivers to the right for Paul Pinegar, the redshirt freshman. And he'll put it on the ground to Rodney Davis, and Davis will be thrown back for a loss. Ryan Nelson made the stop. The offensive line for Fresno State, the second heaviest in the nation behind only Toledo. Matt Stevenson gets the start at right tackle. Joey Shy is a banged-up knee. They do hope he'll be able to play at some point in the game. The defensive line, Dane Oldham, is playing as good as anyone on that defensive unit right now for Boise State. Second down and 10. And here's Pinegar to pass. His first pass attempt, able to complete to Jermaine Jamison far side. It's a short game, maybe 4, and it'll bring up a third down and long. Gabe Franklin made the stop. And the linebackers for Boise State, Chauncey Acko is the top tackler on this team. And the secondary, Quentin Michael, is the one everyone is talking about. When you talk to the Fresno State people, they say number 9 stands out on the film, and we'll watch for Michael. So here we go. First third down opportunity for Fresno State on third down and 6. Out of the shotgun. Pinegar's got good pass protection. Throws the short pass, and it is dropped. Jermaine Jamison. There was a wide receiver behind him. I'm not sure Jamison was the intended target there.
I think the blue turf is having an impact already. It looked like the sky. And Pinegar had time, but couldn't find his receiver. This is really bizarre. You look out at this field, and you look at this thing, and obviously, it's the ugliest field we've ever seen. And if you're a quarterback looking out at this thing, it's a little bit disorienting until you get used to it.
We have been asked to become the first broadcast team in history not to say, folks, don't try adjusting your television sets. The turf actually is blue. We were trying to adjust our eyes when we walked into the stadium today. Here's Jason Simpson, the punter. High, spiraling kick. Tim Gilligan will not call for a fair catch. Ever. Makes a couple of moves, takes on some people, and he's out to the 30-yard line. So we've traded punts. We're scoreless in front of a capacity crowd in Boise, Idaho. Pat Hill said, not before this game, but prior to the season, if we want to win the WAC, we've got to win in Boise. And, Rod, the opportunity is right in front of them.
Big game. If you don't think it's a big game, just think back to last year when they knocked off the Cinderella Fresno State team.
On ESPN, they were ranked number 8 in the country at the time. Screen pass to Billy Wingfield. And he's able to pick up a short gain. DeMario Rhode made the stop.
The thing about the Boise State offense is you take a look at that series history, only 4 meetings between them. But this offense, I think, with B.J. Rhode is a lot more conservative than it is with Dinwiddie at quarterback. They tend to throw more short passes, intermediate passes, and run the ball a heck of a lot more with B.J. Rhode as the quarterback.
Although they have yet to run a single play in this game. 4 plays from scrimmage, make it 5. All passes. Here's Rhode to throw. Steps up, fires. Good throw on the money across midfield to Billy Wingfield.
And that's that intermediate pass that we talked about that they will throw with B.J. Rhode. Simple comeback route. And Wingfield runs a nice route to the top of the screen. You'll see him to your left. He'll run away and come back to the quarterback to catch that ball. The comeback route to the sideline. Well thrown.
Cross midfield, first down and 10 in Fresno State territory from the 49. David Michael has checked in. He's the single setback to replace Brock Forsey. They send the man in motion, that's Tim Gilligan. And they pitch it out to the right to Michael. Trying to make the one-on-one move, and does, and then takes on some people. Michael is the breakaway back, gave you a little shake and bake first on Cameron Worrell, and then ran through D. Meza to make the stop.
A little shake and bake? He had the whole package there. Worrell had him sized up. Outside in, perfect technique. Watch 24 Worrell. He's going to have Michael right where he wants him. Little dipsy-do to the outside. Outside leverage is gone. He just took it away. That's great.
And again, that's Worrell. He's the top tackler for Fresno State. He doesn't make many mistakes. Gain of 9 on the play. What do you want to do on second down and short? Send Rocky Atkinson, the tight end, in motion. Looked like somebody jumped. There is a flag as they try the right side. Forsey in the game on the rush attempt. But there was definitely somebody a little too eager for Fresno State. Might have been Jason Stewart.
Yeah, they flagged him for being offsides, and J.C. Stewart will want to act quickly. And he's a strong guy, but he's got to stop that zone play inside.
On the defense, 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Lem Semko is our referee. Penalties were a real problem for Fresno State early in the season. They've really calmed down in that department. Lately, penalties have been a problem for Boise State. But they benefit with the penalty. They'll take the first down on first down and 10 at the 35 of the Bulldogs. And the Broncos, play action pass, able to complete to Fanucchi, cuts inside. He's across the 30 and only brought down maybe a yard shy of another first down.
So they're starting to open it up. As you mentioned, they've been throwing the ball and not running it very much. This is a little bit different than what they've shown to date this season. B.J. Rhode throwing the ball an awful lot early. This is a team that, remember, last week against Tulsa, over 300 yards rushing. They just pounded them into submission. But today, they open up, throwing the ball quite a bit. A lot of short passes, but still throwing it quite a bit.
Rhode accurate, 5 of 6. Looking 6 of 7, and he's got it. It's Fanucchi again on the far side, and he's gang tackled, but not until he has another first down inside the 20-yard line.
Well, those short passes are going to go away now because we're inside the 20, inside the red zone. And so you're going to see the corners from Fresno State tighten up. And they're not going to let them have those short passes in there and then try and make them put the ball in the air a little bit further. But we haven't seen much of Brock Forsey right now. This tends to be his area.
Third catch already for Fanucchi in the game. On first down and 10, inside the 20. And they hand it off. It's Forsey. And he bangs down to about the 15-yard line. Mark Daly brought him down.
Well, that's typical Forsey. I mean, you saw him do a nice little cutback. He doesn't want to get outside on you. He wants to cut it back and get inside, lower his shoulders, and pick up what he can. I mean, he's a decisive runner when he makes up his mind to get going.
Forsey last week, 25 carries, 208 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He averaged better than 8 yards per carry. Second down and 8 now. David Michael has checked in, and they'll hand it off to Michael. He'll cut inside, brought down at about the 11-yard line. Shy of the first down. They'll bring up a third down now. Todd Garcia made the stop.
But you can see they've been working inside right where Jason Stewart is, and we talked about him jumping off sides earlier. You know, Jason Stewart is the big guy inside at 285, and if he is handled by one blocker, then Boise State's doing a great job. They want to make sure that they handle him. If they have to use 2 guys, they will. But so far, one-on-one blocking has prevailed on Stewart.
Third and 4, 8th play of the drive coming up. Fanucchi in motion. They've got 4 receivers to the right. And Rhode out of the shotgun. Rolling to his right, throws back to the end zone. Incomplete. Nearly a brilliant catch by Billy Wingfield. He showed some hops. He's only listed at 5'10" there, Rod.
Hey, who says that short guys can't get up?
Wow.
You know? And back of the end zone. Pretty good coverage. And as a corner, this is what you want to do. Put yourself between the receiver and the quarterback and make the quarterback throw the ball high and try and drop it in. That's a pretty good coverage play out there by D. Mesa. And Jim Sanders was the guy in actual coverage today.
Nick Calaycay is on to attempt a 28-yard field goal. Calaycay nails it through. 8:45 to play in the first quarter. An impressive drive by Boise State. Stalls just a bit. They'll settle for 3. They lead Fresno State.
ESPN's presentation of primetime college football. Brought to you by Hyundai. Every Hyundai is backed by America's best warranty. And it's only from Hyundai. And Wendy's late night pickup window, where you can eat great, even late.
Orange, you're glad you're watching this game from Boise, Idaho. Everybody's in orange in Broncos Stadium. Some 40,000 on hand. Fresno State will get the football. Tyler Jones will kick it away. Marquez Davis and Adam Jennings are back deep for the Bulldogs. It's going to be Jennings. Got a running start from the goal line. Cut to the middle. Breaks one tackle. Nearly broke another. He's out to the 30-yard line. Let's send it back to the studio and Reese Davis.
Seaver High School showcasing the Peach State Parkview, number 2 in the nation, against Norcross down in Georgia on a 3rd and goal play. Justin Wade calls his own number, as they say, in Parkview on top by a touchdown.
All right, Reese, thank you. Keep us posted on our high school game of the week. Played a big high school football game in this stadium last night. We had to catch a glimpse of it. But it's time for college football here tonight. Send the man in motion, Steven Spot, and they'll hand it off. It's Rodney Davis trying to turn the corner, and a good job by Julius Brown to bring him down and down to the field, and Heather Cox.
Well, Steve, according to local lore, there is a definite reason why Boise State has won 22 of its last 23 games here at home. It's the blue turf. It was installed back in 1986 when the athletic director did it as a publicity stunt, was hoping to get on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Didn't get the cover, got the back page. But there's a little bit of a morbid part to this tale as well that happens to be true. The local ducks and geese often think it's a pond and try to land here on the Smurf turf. Steve, back to you.
All right, Heather, thank you. Quick screen inside to Marquez Davis. Can't do much with it. That's an incomplete pass, and it'll bring up a 3rd down and 5. And really, Roger, you can't come to Boise without talking about the turf. And we try to give the viewers at home a feel, bring them as close to the action as possible. And therefore, we want to be as close to the action as possible. So we are broadcasting tonight on the blue turf.
Yeah, you got to get your turf shoes on or your real shoes and work with this thing, you know?
Authentic blue turf here in the booth. 3rd down and 5. Send the man in motion. Here's Pinegar to pass. And the pass is incomplete. Looking for Jermaine Jamison. And it'll be incomplete, and they'll have to punt, bring up the 4th down. But back here in the booth, I was checking out those spiffy shoes. Rod, what are you doing? Hey, Rod, what are you doing there?
I got it going, man. I got off to a good start, you know? And when I get off to a good start,
wow.
That's what I'm talking about, man.
Little T.O., huh?
Hey.
Terrell Owens.
Big game. No, that's yours.
Oh, sorry. That's
your game ball. My autograph to you, buddy.
It's worth a lot more now. I'll tell you that. 4th down and 5 for Fresno State. 2 straight 3-and-outs. So Jason Simpson will go from the 20-yard line and look to punt it away. Tim Gilligan is back deep again. Don't expect any fair catches. Good protection for Simpson. Here's Gilligan from the 28, trying to cut it back. He swung around and looking to turn the corner. Got a blocker in front of him, and he is across midfield. Tremendous return and effort by Tim Gilligan. And he got a real good block from Quentin Michael, the star of the defense, helping out on the special teams. 10 undefeateds left in the country. You'll see 2 of them Saturday night. Worth staying up for in the East. It's Notre Dame and it's Air Force. 6-0 meets 6-0. There's Tyrone Willingham and everything he has done. And I know you had a chance to talk to Tyrone this week.
Yeah.
Thoughts from the coach?
Well, I talked to him earlier this week, and he was not interested in talking about Florida State down the road. He said he had no trouble getting his guys focused on an Air Force team that is favored to beat Notre Dame, even though Notre Dame is ranked number 7 and Air Force number 15. He knows that his guys are really ready for this ball game. You know, he said, hey, we got an option. We don't run the option anymore. We got to get that done in practice. Tell you. That's going to be a good one.
Notre Dame, Air Force, ESPN, the game day guys are going. It's going to be a big night. Darian Fontenot, by the way, was injured. He is the fastest of the running backs for Fresno State, hurt on the special teams. On 1st down and 10. They start with excellent field position at midfield. And the handoff to Forsey, trying to make some people miss. And he had a lot of running room, Rod, as he was able to turn the corner. He found himself nearly alone, gain of 14.
And how does he do that? I mean, we're talking about a guy who's not big. He's not going to impress you or overpower you with his size. He's not fast. He's only about a 4'6", 4'6", 5 guy, yet he makes guys miss. He uses a stiff arm, and he's got enough quick feet to get himself to the outside.
Chris Peterson, the offensive coordinator for Boise State. When you look at Forsey on the tape, he doesn't show you a whole lot. Billy Wingfield going down the sideline showed you plenty. James Sanders had to run him out of bounds. He was talking about Forsey not looking strong or explosive on the film, but when you get him on the field, you see otherwise when you get up close, and there Wingfield made the play.
Yeah, but watch Wingfield at the end. Watch where he goes. Yeah, he's going to be on Sports Center right there.
DJ Rhode, 7 of 9. We await the arrival of Ryan Dinwiddie to open the second quarter. Of course, it's always subject to change. 2 receivers to the left. Hand off David Michael. Boise State gives you a good change-up with the 2 running backs.
Well, they have a home run hitter in Michael, and then they have a guy who can pound you in Forsey. And this guy, Dinwiddie, is waiting to get in there. And he can't wait to get in and do his thing. He's expected to start the second quarter, but he is chomping at the bit. He outdo David Carr last year, and he wants to get back in this game.
And folks, there is no quarterback controversy here. Rhode knows Dinwiddie's the man, but only when he's totally healthy. Handoff. It's Forsey. Up the middle. Slams down to the 5-yard line. Cameron Worrell brought him down.
Well, they're just doing a great job inside. Jason Stewart and Dale Hawkins, the defensive interior linemen, are getting handled. They're being manhandled. Just watch the inside. Watch no tackle. Bam, moved right off the ball. Pushed out of the way. Nothing doing. That's great job up front.
And, Rob, that's the first time Forsey and Michael have been in the game together. It really gives the defense something to think about.
Yeah, well, they certainly weren't thinking about getting off blocks.
2 receivers to the left now for Rhode. Handoff. It's Forsey. He's shy of the goal line, and a flag comes way late from well behind the quarterback. Wasn't any contact on the quarterback.
No, but they did throw it, and I think I saw the Boise State players celebrating. I don't think it was a late hit on the quarterback, though.
Personal foul. Continuous contact to the helmet on the defense. At the distance. Automatic first down.
Well, that's an automatic, and it's a safety issue. You do not go to the head. You never hit anybody in the head. Watch the left side of your screen. There's right there, knocking off the helmet. That was Mike McLeod, who lost his helmet.
Glenn Semko is our referee today. Kevin Matthews, the umpire. Boy, officials have certainly been in the news. Forsey's in the end zone. That's the news right now. Up and over, touchdown, Boise State. Brock Forsey, his 11th touchdown to lead the WAC. They go 50 yards in just 6 plays, 2 impressive scoring drives, 1 resulting in a field goal, and this one in the touchdown. Calaycay to put it through, and does. 6:16 to go. Rhode's been sharp. The Boise State offense moving up and down the field, thanks to some great field position as well. Brock Forsey and Boise State, they come in with a 4-game winning streak. Fresno State with a 3-game winning streak. Both schools obviously really clicking as they head into this one. And so far, the Broncos clicking a little bit more than the Bulldogs. Tyler Jones kicks it away. And deep in the end zone, Adam Jennings, he'll take a knee. They'll start 1st and 10 from the 20.
Yeah, Steve, you talked about the offense clicking. Let's go back to that touchdown. Watch the offensive line click. There's Darren College, the left tackle. Watch him put Jason Stewart on skates. He just starts driving. Look at that thing. He drives him 5 yards off the line of scrimmage and then keeps going. I mean, it's easy to get touchdowns when your left tackle plays like that.
Total yards to this point. And Boise State well-balanced, 50 yards on the ground, 60 via the air. And here's Fresno State's offense now. What will Paul Pinegar and the offense do to respond? On 1st down and 10 from the 20. Off the play action. Pressure from the backside. They've got him. It's Quentin Michael.
Yep.
Roving on the blitz.
There's your guy. Yeah, he's the guy that Fresno State said coming in, they always have to account for him. They have to find him. They have to assign somebody to him. Guess what? They didn't do it that time. I mean, it's easy. If that's your game plan, you get a guy on him all the time. But Quentin Michael disguised his blitz, came flying off the right side, got a nice sack.
As a sophomore, he was the Big West Conference Defensive Player of the Year. This year, the WAC preseason Defensive Player of the Year. Pinegar on the run, and the pass too low, and Jennings couldn't scoop it. And the Fresno State offense looks a little out of sorts.
Well, Pinegar doesn't throw the ball real well on the move. He's a pocket passer. He had his guy wide open, but he was rolling to his right, trying to make a very difficult pass in that situation. He was under some pressure, and he's not that kind of quarterback. He wants to get back there and fire the ball.
They've had 8 offensive snaps Fresno State has. Good for a total of 3 net yards. 3rd down and 16. Pinegar, 5 touchdown passes, no interceptions in his last 3 games. And Marquez Davis didn't give a great effort on that. Saw some blue jerseys around him on the blue turf.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the blue turf or the blue jerseys, the guys in those blue jerseys. But right now, Fresno State is totally out of whack in this big WAC game. They're just not there. I mean, they're being hit faster than they're hitting. They look a little bit disoriented. A little bit slow to deliver. They're going to have to get it going. Otherwise, Boise State, all the blue, all the orange will be all over them.
Jason Simpson punting from the orange and the blue. He's exactly on the goal line. Gilligan is back deep at his own 45. Taking plenty of time. Now they get it away. And Simpson puts it in the air. Nice high spiraling punt. Gilligan back at the 33. Picks up his blockers. Now cuts to the middle of the field, and he is in the middle of a host of white shirts. But again, Boise State will take over at their own 47. It's a punt of 53 by Simpson. NFL Countdown, as if I have to tell you, every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. Chris Berman and all his guys get you ready for all the games. Among the items on NFL Countdown, the Ricky Factor. What's going on with Ricky Williams in Miami? Chris Mortensen will report. And then at 7:30 Eastern, of course, it's NFL Prime Time, presented by Miller Lite.
So that's your secret. That's where you're getting all your knowledge on the NFL. You're dropping on me all week long.
That's right.
That's where it's coming from.
I watched the show that everybody should watch in the morning.
I knew it.
Quick throw from Rhode, and he's going to throw. Gilligan, the pass down the field, and it's broken up. Wingfield, the intended target. Outstanding defensive play by James Sanders.
Yeah, that's called staying home and playing your position, playing your role. Sanders did not buy the fake. He didn't buy the trickeration there. He stayed deep. That's hard to do. You see 23 in the middle of the screen. He didn't come up. He kept back. He kept going and gets over and makes a great play.
It's a pretty good throw there.
Yeah, you know.
But it's an outstanding defensive play.
It is. And Gilligan makes a nice throw here. But, you know, every time I hear Gilligan, it's the age-old question. Marianne, Ginger, you know?
A debate we can get into, and you can vote at ESPN.com. I don't think it's up on the website yet. Brock Forsey ahead. He has the first down. And there is Gilligan. He is fearless, really known on the punt return for never waving his hand.
Well, he was the guy who took the big hits last year, which I think was the basis of people being concerned about the halo rule and increasing the penalty for the halo rule, going from 5 yards to 10 yards this year.
First down and 10 across midfield to the 41 of Fresno State. Boise State's offense on the field, it seems like the entire game, and that's something they said was very important. They were worried about getting pounded by Fresno State's offensive line. Here's Forsey picking and choosing his hole. He got first down yardage across the 30. Cameron Worrell brought him down after the gain of 13, and we go down to Heather Cox.
Steve, this is an injury report that's never been done. It's on number 36, Brock Forsey. Yes, he's gotten the last 2 carries, but he has a concussion, hit his head very hard when he went into the end zone for that touchdown. Forsey has never been injured in his entire career here as a Bronco, and they're certainly hoping that he'll stay in the game.
All right, Heather, thanks, and we'll certainly watch for that. Forsey's a guy, they love the way he carries the ball. They'd love to throw to him more, but they just have so many wide receivers, so depth at that position. And trying to spread the wealth. Only one football. Forsey on on the right side. Took a pretty good pounding there as he's brought down at the 20.
Well, he doesn't look like he has a concussion. I mean, you know, when you get hit in a ball game and you get a little foggy for a moment, you tend to have trouble remembering plays. And you sometimes turn to people in the huddle and say, hey, what's my assignment? What do I do? But he is called the zone doctor. You know, that last drive, he carried the ball a lot, took a lot of hits, but as Heather reported, he took the shot in the end zone. That's right here as he comes in, down on his head. You saw that at the end, right on top of his head.
Forsey now owns the school career all-purpose yards and touchdown record. Cedric Minter, the Bronco Hall of Famer, has been pushed out of the top spot in both categories thanks to Forsey. David Michael checks in, giving Forsey a bit of a breather. Jason Stewart makes the stop on him.
You know, I call Forsey the zone doctor. That's because he is the expert at running that zone play, that stretch play where they stretch the defensive line to go in one direction, and then Forsey comes along and picks the way to cut back and get up the field.
There you see the numbers on Forsey, 8 carries, 64 yards. Again, it's Michael, brought down shy of the first down. Forsey with the touchdown rod has passed the kicker, Calaycay, in all-time scoring points. Those two keep going back and forth, the kicker and the running back.
Well, yes, but let's look at this right now. 4th down, okay? Normally, you know how conservative I am, right? But here, I agree. You go for it because you got a chance at home to bury these guys, and you've been controlling the line of scrimmage. So don't take 3. Take your shot at picking up the first down here.
They split Forsey out, now bring him back into the backfield, and give it to him. First down yardage. Brock Forsey, a 6-yard gain. Worrell and Meza brought him down. Interesting, spreading him out first, Forsey, then bringing him back to the backfield.
Yeah, and you know, you're absolutely right, but whether they spread them out or leave them in tight, their line of scrimmage, they're just really handling them. Look at College again, 73, getting out on the linebacker, driving him in. Jason Stewart is having a tough time against Matt Neves, number 58, who's handling him inside. It's just a real problem up front for Fresno State. They're going to have to bring a lot more blitzes to help out on the run game.
College, you mentioned, a redshirt freshman starting at the left tackle position. They've done a terrific job. They think in the future he'll be a real good football player. Forsey's already a good football player. And he's got a gain of 5. First downs in the game, 10 for Boise State, the big goose egg for Fresno State. And again, time of possession was figured to be important. Boise State was afraid they'd be pounded, their defense, by the big offense of Fresno State. And Fresno State's offense hasn't been on the field.
You talk about pounding. How about Dan Brown, the defensive coordinator, Fresno State, being pounded by his buddy, Chris Peterson, the offensive coordinator at Boise State?
And we understand they have a bit of a wager on this game, but even Heather couldn't get it out of either side exactly what was on the line. And there was someone jumping on the line of scrimmage there. A motion and a whistle. Minute 16 to play here in the first quarter.
That ball, illegal snap on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
The old illegal snap call. I hate when that happens, Rod.
Well, there's Dan Brown, and I don't think he's going to have much choice. If he's going to get after Chris Peterson, his buddy, he is going to have to bring more pressure. He's got to come with run blitzes because his defensive line can't match up with the offensive line of Boise State right now.
Dan Brown, of course, played here at his alma mater, Boise State, where he was a star linebacker. Pass, Rhode, able to complete down to the 5-yard line to Jerry Smith. I beg your pardon. It's Matt Strophus, the fullback, his second catch of the season.
Now, these guys have been playing a little chess, defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator. And I tell you, there's Chris Peterson. He's got a little smile on his face right now because it's going all right. It's going his way. And there's no smile here. Dan Brown is not smiling.
They worked together a couple of seasons at Portland State. That was some 10 years ago. Flags fly as they hand it off to Forsey. He's inside the 5. 15 seconds left. Forsey looked like he might have. Well, let's see.
Yeah, may have moved a little early. Yeah, Forsey may have moved early.
Out of his set position.
Illegal motion on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Replay.
See, you can move early as long as you go in motion, but when you attack the line of scrimmage prematurely, that's illegal procedure.
Boise State, Rod, have had tons of laundry the last 3 games. They've had 10 penalties called in each of the last 3 games. Only Hawaii has had more penalties against them in the WAC. That will do it. End of the first quarter. It's Boise State leading 10-0 over Fresno State. The time of possession for the Broncos, 11 minutes and 10 seconds. For the Bulldogs, just 3 minutes and 50 seconds. The second quarter from Idaho is coming up next. So the Thundersticks have made it from Anaheim to Boise.
No rally monkey, though, huh?
Oh, not yet. Of course, they don't need a rally monkey. They're up 10-0. We welcome you back. Second quarter, Steve Levy, Rod Gilmore, Heather Cox. College football Friday night from a packed house, Broncos Stadium in Boise, Idaho. And on third down, Rhode, little flip to Gilligan, and he could not hang on. And it'll fall for an incomplete pass.
They had it set up, though. That was a shovel pass, and if Gilligan hangs on to it, he's off the island. I mean, he's gone.
You've been waiting for that one all week.
Not really.
I'm reading your script in front of you. Gilligan getting off. You had it scripted even, though. Calaycay will come on. Calaycay attempt a field goal. Already good from 28. This will be from 27 yards away. And Calaycay pumps it through. 6 seconds into the second quarter, and Boise State has opened up a 13-0 lead. Game track for you. And P.J. Rhode. You know, we know we're going to see Dinwiddie, but Rhode to this point has been outstanding. 8 of 11 for 70 yards.
Well, with short passes that opened up the running game, they brought the hammer down with Forsey. 74 yards rushing in the first quarter. 74 yards. I mean, that's a little power that offensive line absolutely taking control.
Now, here's the question, Coach. Things are going so well for Boise State. The next time they get the football will be their first possession, start a possession in the second quarter. Do we still see Dinwiddie?
Absolutely. And he's your guy. I mean, even the backup quarterback, B.J. Rhode, says he's the guy. It's his team. So if they told him he was going to get the first series of the second quarter, he's going to get it. And if he plays well, he's going to keep playing because they want him back in the lineup. Even B.J. said, hey, it's his team. I'm just kind of hanging around here for a little bit.
We talked to both players yesterday. Both have a real good attitude about the situation. Dinwiddie was certainly upset about not getting the start, but I think he understands. He knows his role, and Rhode knows Dinwiddie's role as well. Tyler Jones will kick it away. And Fresno State needs some field position. Marquez Davis, they'll try the 20-yard line for field position on the touchback. And we send it back to Reese Davis.
Steve Parkview from Georgia showing why they're the number 2 ranked team in all the land, according to USA Today, taking on Norcross, and it is Sean Dawkins. They're blocking out front and some pretty strong, tough running. Gets him into the end zone. It's 14-0. The Panthers on top.
What color is that turf? Didn't look green, didn't look blue.
Going around, but Parkview number 2. I don't know if they want any part of number 1 De La Salle. I mean, De La Salle ran all over Long Beach Poly 28-7 last week.
What's that winning streak up to?
130 and counting.
Man. Hand off to Rodney Davis. Rodney Davis and his older brother Marquez Davis have been the offensive stars this season for Fresno State, but they've been unable to get on track. Chauncey Acko made the stop for Boise State.
You know, I watched that De La Salle Long Beach game. I mean, it was total domination, 28-0 going into the fourth quarter. Brett Cecil, the quarterback, had a couple of bombs for touchdowns. I mean, they are legitimately the number 1 team in the country, and I don't think they're more talented than Long Beach Poly.
130 consecutive wins. On the draw play, it's Davis fighting for yards, and he is close to the first down. Quentin Michael brought him down. Hey, speaking of high school, we mentioned a high school game here last night on this field.
Yep.
Timberline took care of Boise, won 35-28. And in the high school game here last night, they had back-to-back kickoff returns for touchdowns. So this area, they kind of get it. You know, once a season, Boise State's going to play on a Friday night. You know, hey, let's shift our high school games.
Right.
Thursday or Saturday. And had a nice game here at Broncos Stadium. Third down and 2. Pinegar on the move. He's got pressure now. And gets it away. But Adam Jennings was out of bounds.
Steve, that's 3 and out on 4 straight possessions. And that's not just bad for the offense. It's bad for the defense. They're not giving the Fresno State defense a chance to sit on the sidelines, catch their breath, make some adjustments. It's been 3 and out all game long.
And that time it was 13, chasing 13. Travis Berger trying to run down Paul Pinegar. And the most active player for Fresno State to this point has been the punter, Jason Simpson. Simpson is at his 12. Gilligan is back at the 32. Perfect snap, plenty of time. Simpson puts it in the air. Sends Gilligan back to the 27. And there is a flag down as Gilligan, wow, as he was really rocked on the far sideline as he turned that corner. James Sanders put a thumping on him. A 45-yard punt, 7-yard return, and we'll check the flag.
44-yard punt.
There was a block in the back, and I thought it was on James Sanders. I think they got James Sanders in the back when he was about to make a play on Gilligan.
On the return, holding on the return team, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, TV timeout.
Ryan Dinwiddie looks ready to take to the field. Boise State will have the football and up 13. Ryan Dinwiddie leads the Boise State offense on the field. He is number 7. How confident is he? Yesterday in our meetings, he said to Heather, I'll see you after the game for that post-game interview when we win the football game.
Gotta like that.
A little cocky, a little confident, but you want that in your quarterback, and we'll see if, in fact, he makes ESPN News post-game extra. Dinwiddie will hand off. There is a flag. Hands off to Brock Forsey, and that's always the question. Sam Williams made the stop. You know, new quarterback, new cadence. Maybe lead to a couple penalties. Let's see. Although it's offside on the defense.
He tricked them. New voice.
Faked them out. Speaking of voices, we talked to Ryan Dinwiddie yesterday and asked him about the decision made by his head coach, Dan Hawkins, that he would not be starting this game.
It was really tough because we didn't really communicate on it in the past, and I kind of expected to come back, and they didn't really tell me that they wanted me, to be playing for a couple weeks, and I feel I'm ready to play right now, and I want to do that. I'm a competitor, and I want to go out there and, strap on with these guys, and, I'm just going to have to wait my turn, wait till the second quarter, third quarter maybe, I'm just going to go out there and play and just be my own self.
Dinwiddie able to complete on his first pass to Fanucchi. It's a short gain. And they get it out to about the 24-yard line, bring up second down and short.
You see what he did last year. And BJ's done some good stuff tonight. He's got his helmet off. He's going to enjoy this for a little while. But Dinwiddie had a huge game against Fresno State last year, knocking off Fresno State when everybody thought they were in position to get to a BCS Bowl.
That was the real tough one. They were 6-0, ranked 8th in the country. Fresno State was. Get a home game against Boise State. And I think they were a little shocked by the Broncos. Not going to surprise them this year. Already up 13-0. Dinwiddie to throw again. Under some pressure, steps up, and he's taken down. Loose football. Unless they say he was down. I want to see if he took a shot on that ankle, Rod. They wrapped him up down low. Sam Williams was returning from his own injury. Wrapped him up down low. It's always a concern with an ankle injury.
Well, that's the issue for him. It is the left ankle, and can he push off on it, and can he take hits down there? He gets it twisted right there. They got the left ankle, and even though he thinks he's ready to play, he hasn't seen live action in over a month. So it's a different deal when you practice and you throw the ball around and you get out here and somebody's twisting your ankle.
Third down and 3. Send the man in motion in a slot now, and here's Dinwiddie. Throwing out and completing to Billy Wingfield. First down for Dinwiddie and Boise State down to the field. And Boise's favorite daughter, Heather Cox.
Steve, thanks so much. Now, everybody knows about the 7 pins and a plate in Ryan's left ankle. What nobody knows about, even his teammates, is the 10-inch gash on his right calf. It happened after practice on Tuesday in a routine what all athletes do, they take their tape off with this tool. It's called a sharp. What happened? The plastic actually broke off. He had it inside the tape with just the razor. He didn't even know about it until he was bleeding through the tape. 27 stitches and a 10-inch gash on that right leg, Steve.
Wow, Heather. That is significant. David Michael trying to break one. There's a flag down, and the football is down as well as it went out of bounds. The football went out of bounds on the fumble, but he is stopped at about the 43-yard line. It's a gain of 22. Will it stand?
Well, I think it's coming back. I mean, the way that flag was thrown, from where it was thrown, yet it's usually a hold in that area. And a guy from way down the field threw it about 10 yards. He saw somebody being held.
Holding on the offense, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, 3 plays, first down.
So as Heather reports, that's interesting to note. I mean, you know, you're worried about the ankle and the tape. He's got more tape on his right ankle area because of the gash.
Well, how can that be? I mean, how can your teammates not know? How can nobody know except for this guy? You know, his head coach knows. Nobody else knows he had a bad ankle that he ripped up when he was taking his tape off, and that's maybe more serious than the left one.
Man in motion is Strofus, and they hand it off to Michael, and he's pounding Cameron Worrell, crashing into him. He's got first down yardage out to the 48-yard line. We're in Boise, Idaho for college football Friday night. Fresno State came in with a 3-game winning streak. Boise State came in with a 4-game winning streak, and the total yards to this point, wow. Actually, Fresno State should feel pretty good about only being down 13-0.
That's exactly right. They've had 4 possessions. They've gone 3 and out on all of those possessions. 11 total yards. That puts a lot of stress on your defense.
They shift into the I now with Strofus the fullback. And Dinwiddie to throw. The timing around, and the timing looks pretty good there. And a flag again comes from the defensive backfield, but that time it is Jerry Smith, his 4th catch of the season.
You know, the way they're throwing those flags, they look like seagulls coming down to land.
Crashing into the blue turf.
They're throwing those flags from 10, 20 yards off.
Look at this, like a paper airplane thrown from the stands.
On the defense, that penalties decline. The play results in a first down.
Here you see Dinwiddie step into that throw over his left ankle and gets it in there. Let's see him set up. Plant comes off. Yep. Doesn't look like that left ankle is a problem at all.
Dinwiddie said on Tuesday in practice his ankle bothered him on 3 plays. On Wednesday it bothered him on just 1 play. And yesterday's workout didn't bother him at all. He says it's 100%. We'll see. He's able to complete. Trent Lundeen makes the catch. The backup tight end across the middle.
And that's what we saw in practice yesterday. We saw him throwing darts and lasers every single time he dropped back. And, you know, before yesterday's practice, I thought, you know, BJ's got to be your guy. After seeing Dinwiddie move around and throw the ball like that yesterday, I thought, big game. I think I'd play this guy because he looks real sharp.
There you see the first downs to this point. Kind of a reversal from last year's game. Fresno State scored touchdowns in their first 3 possessions. And really, all the Boise State people talked about was hanging around, finding our way to win. This time they jump out in front. It's Michael, the ball carrier, down to the 15-yard line. Sam Williams the stop. Dinwiddie to this point, 4 of 4 for 40 yards.
But we haven't seen Brock Forsey in a while. You know, he had the concussion deal going on. I think he also looked like he came out after that 1 carry where there was a penalty. I think he got his leg banged up or something. But he has not been back in quite a while.
And another time-consuming drive. Forsey is back in the game now. And they hand it off to him. And he's hit hard. Maybe a gain of 1 on the play. And Sam Williams is really starting to come on for Fresno State. And he's a guy they need to play well. Williams has missed the last 3 games. He's one of their defensive team captains. Suffered a separated shoulder in the loss to Oregon State. He was the top tackler at the time.
And that was a great tackle. You see the way he got his shoulder in there, head up, eyes open, and wrapped up to finish off Forsey.
Little pitch to Forsey again. Like a knife through butter. He's down to the 2. James Sanders brought him down.
You know, you look at him and you go, how? How does he do it? He doesn't look that strong. But, hey, we found out he power cleans 385. That's some serious explosion there. Watch him explode into the tackler here. Bam! Right into him. He just goes into James Sanders real hard and finishes off the run.
The top running back in the WAC leads the conference in scoring, and he's looking to add 6 more points to his total. Diving through. Touchdown, Forsey and Boise State.
Getting kind of ugly for Fresno State. They're going to have to answer the bell. But I like what Hawkins is doing right here. Not going for the 2, taking the 1. Much too early to think about 2 points.
It's the Reese Davis rule,
The
right?
Reese Davis rule.
We're not even close to the 4th quarter. Here's Calaycay. On to the extra point. And he pumps it through. Mighty Fresno State being dominated, flat out dominated by the Broncos of Boise State. It's 20-0 in the 2nd quarter.
ESPN's presentation of primetime college football brought to you by Bank of America and by MLB Authentic Collection, apparel for on the field or in the stands.
We mentioned we have 2 of the 3 undefeated teams in the WAC to this point. San Jose State is also undefeated in the conference, and they play tomorrow at Nevada. Tyler Jones is set to kick off. And he'll put another one deep into the end zone. Marquez Davis will take a knee. And Fresno State will try it again on 1st down and 10 from the 20-yard line. Tomorrow night, the primetime game as Auburn and 24th-ranked Florida. And then the game everybody's buzzing about, Notre Dame against Air Force. That's at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. College football Saturday night. 2 of the 10 unbeatens. Somebody's going down tomorrow night.
And somebody's going to play some great defense. You know, Chance is going to have to deal with that tough Notre Dame defense. And they give an award to the top assistant coach in the country. I think the leading candidate is Kent Baer, the defensive coordinator at Notre Dame.
And flags fly before Pinegar can get a snap away.
With 12 on the offense, 5 yards, still 1st down.
And they'll back him up 5 yards. Fresno State has had 12 plays from the line of scrimmage, 11 net yards, 0 first downs. What's going on with the Bulldogs?
Hey, we've seen Fresno State an awful lot over the last couple years. We have never seen their offense stymied like this. And we've seen them against Wisconsin this year. We saw them against Colorado State. They have never been shut down like this.
And we're going to see them next week as well at Fresno with Hawaii in town. Another critical WAC game. Little flanker screen of Marquez Davis, who cuts inside. He's near 1st down yardage as we check in with Reese.
Okay, Steve, high school showcase, Parkview and Norcross down in Georgia. Parkview, as we mentioned, number 2 in the country, and we're finding out why. Joey Sturdivant does a lot of different things. Averages over 8 yards per carry, dangerous as a receiver, and going into the house there. 21-0 Parkview on top of Norcross.
There at halftime, 21-point game. We've got 7.5 to play before halftime, and it's 20-0. Fresno State not abandoning the ground game. Rodney Davis, the ball carrier, but another flag. Wes Nurse made the stop.
And remember, Rodney Davis had 200 yards, just over 200 yards rushing last week, and he's been shut down so far tonight. And another penalty on Fresno State. They've got nothing going, and this is just bad. I mean, this is real bad. This is the worst I've seen Fresno State's offense, and I don't know how long. You just couldn't imagine them being shut down like this.
It's worth telling their quarterback story. Jeff Grady came in as the starter.
10 yards from the previous spot. 3 plays, 2nd down.
Grady suffered a deep bruise in his left hip against Wisconsin, missed a couple of games. Pinegar took over. Grady returned against Oregon State, injured his right hip. Pinegar took over. In his last 3 games, Pinegar, 51 of 81, 707 yards, 5 touchdowns, no picks. He has wrestled the top job away from Grady, but they need some offense, and can Pinegar deliver? Off the play action, has good time, throws across the middle and complete out to the 30, hits his big tight end Alec Greco. And maybe that will settle down the Fresno State offense.
Well, I don't think they'll get completely settled until they start running the football some. And they've got an offensive line that should be dominating Boise State's front. They're bigger, stronger. It's just no contest. But Boise State's bringing enough blitzes. They're putting their corners on an island every now and then, but they're playing zone behind it most of the time. So they're going to have to figure out a way to run the football against a smaller team.
Hey, they're throwing a party in the Valley right now. Fresno State actually got a first down. Handoff. It's Davis again. It took Fresno State 22 minutes and 40 seconds into the game to get their first down. And Pat Hill told us that with Rodney Davis establishing himself as the #1 running back, the offense has been really consistent. No turnovers, no penalties. They don't look all that sharp here tonight.
I think Pat Hill believed they had found their rhythm, that they had their identity. You know, they're a team that runs the inside zone with Davis. They throw the short pass, and then they take a shot. That's their identity. Tonight, no identity.
Draw play. And bouncing outside is Rodney Davis. And what a tackle as he dropped to the 38. Who else? The best football player on the team, Quentin Michael.
Who says guys don't know how to tackle? Quentin Michael shows you just how you drive through a guy and you wrap him up. I mean, this is picture perfect. Get a guy going laterally, get your head on the outside, drive through him. Watch this. Come on up, outside. Bam! Look where that head is. Cross the numbers. Nice big hit.
Michael came into this game needing 71 tackles to be #1 in school history to surpass Scott Russell. He's on pace to come up just short. He'll need a couple of monster games. Pinegar throws. Duncan Reed could not hang on. But guess what? There's another hanky on the field.
I think this is going to be on Michael. I think Quentin hit Pinegar a little late as he came free. And he came flying off the right side, Pinegar's backside, and took a shot at him after he threw the ball.
Roughing the passer on the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Good eyes, Rod. Good eyes. And that will infuriate Dan Hawkins.
1, 2, 3, almost 4 steps. 3 steps plus, and then he delivers the blow.
Hawkins has talked about with the penalty problems. Again, 10 penalties in each of the last 3 games against Boise State. He said, hey, I'm going to start sitting some people down. That's the only way you get through the kids now. Sit them down. Just running laps doesn't do it anymore.
Playing time.
And another flag. Somebody jumped.
Well, you saw a little bit of the pressure.
Snap. False start on the offense. 5 yards. Still. First down.
Fitu Tua'a looked like he jumped at the left guard spot. We want to take this time out, say a special thank you to all the men and women in uniform assigned to the United States Pacific Command watching this telecast on the American Forces Network.
Did they get a chance to watch Air Force Notre Dame tomorrow night?
I think everybody's watching that one.
Tune in for that.
That's one of those you stay up late for in the East. We're staying home on a Saturday night. Here's Pinegar, good protection, steps up, lofts one down the sideline, got a man wide open, but he was out of bounds anyway. Jermaine Jamison was there. Looked like Gabe Franklin had good coverage, and then Jamison separated himself.
Yeah, Gabe Franklin didn't believe the ball was going. You know, as a corner, you get so far on a route, you start to think, hey, if it hasn't happened now, it's not going to happen. And I think Franklin sort of gave up a little bit, and then the ball was there. And he didn't see it in the receiver's eyes, and afterwards he went, whoa, they're going to throw this thing. There was a corner blitz coming on that play. Franklin was the corner in coverage.
Spoken like a man who's experienced that feeling, all right?
You know? I've had some film sessions in my day. What are you doing there, Rod? What are you doing?
What goes through your mind? Here's Pinegar trying to throw the quick screen to Adam Jennings, and it bounced off his hands. Unfortunately, it wasn't intercepted. 5.5 left in the first half that Boise State has dominated. Fresno State just got across midfield once, and then they were pushed back to where they are now.
Well, but it's been a better drive for them than they've had all game long. If nothing else, they've helped their defense. They've given the defense a chance to rest and also talk about adjustments.
Third down and 15, and they're making some noise in Boise. They're talking about this being arguably the biggest regular season home game in school history. Pinegar just 3 of 11 to this point. Down the middle. There is no flag. There's a rarity. Jermaine Jamison was there. Chris Carr had the coverage.
Boise State rolling the dice. I mean, they are coming after Pinegar every time he gets the chance. And they're playing single coverage. This is risky. If you don't make the play, you'll miss it. Now, what a deft move there. Chris Carr, right arm, found the right backside, and then the left arm in front. I think that's a good call. That's okay. That back arm doesn't hurt the receiver. Makes no difference on the play.
Fifth Fresno State possession. Fifth time they're punting. Jason Simpson to Tim Gilligan. Gilligan from the 14. 2 flags behind him as he tries to scoot up the sideline. He finally bounced out of bounds at the 30. But we'll sort it out. Bryce McGill, the special team stop. We're not supposed to have this many penalties, Rod. This is for the first couple games in the season, fine. Not this far into the season. You're in conference play. 7th game for Boise State already.
It's a color coordination thing.
8th game for Fresno State.
It's a chance to get some yellow on the blue.
Yes, yellow on the blue. We asked Pat Hill about playing on the blue. He said, I'm more concerned with the guys in the blue playing on the blue.
Yeah, but you know, you look at the blue field and then look at the guys in blue. There's not a big difference. And those blues kind of match.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, let's pound it now. Let's go get them.
There is a beat.
2 fouls on the play. Halo violation on the kicking team. Holding on the receiving team. Those penalties will offset. Replay. 4th down.
The mulligan. Do it over.
I know what a mulligan is, Rod. I've had a couple. You should see my golf game. I get out on a regular basis to play golf. I'd say 3 or 4 times a year.
That's pretty regular. At least you're consistent about it.
One day I'll even get a set of clubs and everything.
Oh, you can't play with the rent-a-clubs.
No, I play with somebody else. Play out of the same bag as whoever I'm with.
Oh, gee. All right, we know what you need.
They're bowling shoes, too. Jason Simpson will try it again. Simpson's getting good at this. And here's Gilligan. From the 19. Hey, another flag. Make it 2 flags.
What do you bet it was a halo violation?
Are we going to do that again?
Flag on the field.
I think they may have caught both sets of halo violations. No, there's one each way. We might have a do-over. Can you have 2 mulligans?
I think you're only entitled to 1.
Halo violation on the kicking team. 10 yards from the entry of the halo. 1st down.
All right, so we don't have to worry about the second mulligan.
So we'll take a breather from all the penalties. Boise State certainly enjoying it. The moon over Boise. Doesn't have much of a ring to it, but there it is.
Getting in the spirit of Halloween.
What are you going as this year, Rod?
I don't need to.
Here's Boise State now on 1st down and 10. Ryan Dinwiddie still in the game now for his 2nd series. He's on the run, and he'll pick up maybe a yard on the play. Dinwiddie doesn't have Jay Swilly to throw to in this game. Let's go down to Heather.
Not at all, Stephen. Jay Swilly is the one that caught the winning touchdown exactly a year ago against Fresno State. He's having to watch this one at home on TV, not even allowed in the stadium following a suspension. It happened during a fight and in the locker room earlier this week. Suspended for 1 game. Ironically, that fight was with fellow wide receiver Lou Fanucchi, who is getting the start in Jay Swilly's absence.
All right, Heather, thank you. And, you know, you'd think Swilly would be a big-time loss. He's their key guy on 3rd down and in clutch situations. But without him, Boise State has a 20-0 lead, and other guys are picking up the slack like Tim Gilligan. Now they'll say that was an incomplete pass, that he did not come up with a catch. Swilly, whose nickname is First Down Swilly, 99 of his 128 career catches have been for a first down or a touchdown, but Swilly finds himself in some trouble with his coach. and not the first time he's been suspended from this team.
Quite surprising. You have a suspension, quarterback issue, and look at this. They're up 20.
Yeah, so much for distraction, right? That's a real credit to Coach Hawkins and his staff. Under 5 to go here in the first half. Fresno State showing some pressure, and here they come with it. The blitz picked up nicely. Terrific throw by Dinwiddie to Billy Winfield, racing to the sideline. And he'll be knocked out at the 25-yard line. Good job by the offensive line. They picked up the blitz. Nathan Ray had a chance to make a tackle and couldn't. It goes to gain of 47 to Wingfield.
Oh, you said it, partner. It all starts with protection. They do pick up the blitz, and then a great throw by Dinwiddie. And then you see the work at the end. Big-time work. Billy Wingfield bounced off that thing. You see his jersey being torn? Jersey being torn off as he was trying to get down the field. He's going to need a tailor over there.
They don't get fined. They can't get fined in college that much.
Oh, no, it's not the NFL. They don't find anything.
When you signed that football earlier, I thought your shirt was untucked. Well, that's a $5,000 fine. Little pitch to Michael. He's out to the 20-yard line. Sanders the stop for Fresno State.
And you can keep that ball I signed for you, buddy.
I appreciate it. Putting it on eBay as we speak. Second down and 6 upcoming.
Second down and 6.
Sets Focus in motion. Hand off, Michael. He's down the 12-yard line. Cameron Worrell stopped him. Another excellent drive by Boise State. One name we haven't mentioned for Fresno State is Nick Burley. And there Burley is, playing with a banged-up thumb. He's one of their top defenders. I don't think I've mentioned his name once tonight, right?
No, he hasn't been in on anything, and it's because that offensive line has been dominant. Nick Burley, out of St. Francis High School in the Peninsula in the Bay Area, is a big-time player. But he busted up that thumb and hasn't been able to use that left hand.
3.5 to play now in the half. Here's Brock Forsey, and he's pushed back. That time it was Nick Burley as if on cue.
Well, they heard you talking about him. He said, what? Steve said he didn't mention my name. I'll show you something. He makes a nice job here, defeats the block, gets on in there. That was Matt in the vest 58 who was trying to handle him, and Burley was able to get by him that time.
The numbers on Burley. Only played a half last week. Took a shot for some of the pain in that thumb. Well, it wore off. The painkiller wore off at halftime, started throbbing. It was too painful for him to go. Was not expected to get a shot for the pain prior to this game. He's going to deal with it. And it is caught. Touchdown. Dinwiddie to Rocky Atkinson, the tight end. Juggled it momentarily, but pulled it down, and it's all Broncos.
So how does Dinwiddie look to you?
He looks terrific.
Yeah.
Rhode looked terrific as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but if they're even, Dinwiddie's your guy. Because it's his team. He's the starting quarterback. You don't lose your job to injury. I don't know who made up that rule, but it seems to stick.
Calaycay is on for the extra point. And the point is up, and it is good. B.J. Rhode was outstanding. Yeah, we might not see him again. Ryan Dinwiddie, 6 of 7 for 100 yards and a touch. When Ryan Dinwiddie was injured, that ankle, back in the September the 7th, it was in the process of being sacked for the 7th time in that game. That was the second quarter.
That was against Arkansas.
Yeah.
SEC team.
He passed it 9 times, was sacked 7 times. Marquez Davis, again, can't get a return. We send it back to Reese.
All right, Steve, coming up on the halftime report, Fisher DeBerry, the head coach at Air Force, will join us for a conversation about the Falcons' upcoming game against Notre Dame. And, of course, our high school showcase is turning into a whipping. Parkview, the #2 team in all the land. We'll see if they want any part of De La Salle, Rod. And we'll also check in with our Friday night tailgate guys as we go around the country to give you a little flavor of what's upcoming on Saturday. We'll see you in a bit.
All right, Reese. Coach DeBerry's got that running game going, huh? Just a little bit.
Number 1 in the country. You know, but Notre Dame has seen the option in their day, but they've been away from it for a while, so they're going to get really tested by the Air Force.
Chance has more rushing touchdowns than Notre Dame has offensive touchdowns this season.
Oh, come on. The Notre Dame offense hasn't been there. Come on.
Here's Pinegar to throw and to complete on the far side to Jermaine Jamison. As for the Fresno State offense, the star has been Jason Simpson, the punter.
Yeah, punt, 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 punt. Your old favorite song. It's getting ugly, you know? Bringing all that music, it's getting ugly. That's what you're talking about right there, all those punts. That's what Pat Hill is saying. It's gotten real ugly in the first half.
You know, I was trying to play Anthony Gilmore's CD that he made for me this week, and we tried to pop it in, but what happened, Rod?
You got to get a car with a CD player, buddy.
My national rental car didn't have a CD player. What's that about? DeAndre Gilbert, their top touchdown maker in terms of receivers. And Chris Carr put the stick on him.
Well, now, let's go back to last year. Remember, Boise State hadn't gotten a lot done against Fresno State. It was 20-7 late in the first half. They got a drive going. They got a big play. They got a score. They got right back in it. They won the ball game. Fresno State needs to score.
Boise State was patient last year. Fresno State, maybe too patient. Here's Pinegar. Forget about it. Under pressure, he's dropped by Dane Oldham. His second sack of the season. And it comes at a most inopportune time for the Fresno State offense.
Well, I just don't believe that they expected to get this much pressure. There you see it coming again, and they just miss a block. The offensive line, Fresno State, inside, blows it. Missed call. That allows Oldham to get in. But generally, Boise State is playing a lot more man coverage and blitzing a lot more than Fresno State thought they would.
Bronco coaching staff told us Oldham is playing as well as anybody on their defense right now. Here's Pinegar completing to DeAndre Gilbert, but what a hit Chris Carr put on him. Carr, who will take over next year likely for Quentin Michael, puts the big stick, but there is a flag.
Fresno, their first charge team, timeout.
Timeout, Fresno State. Under 90 seconds left in the first half, dominated by the Broncos.
This is Boise State University, shaped by its location in one of America's most dynamic small cities. Located in the midst of an unsurpassed natural environment, Boise State is a place where students connect to the world around them, from high technology to high culture, where student opportunities abound in an extensive internship program, where students use the great Western outdoors as their classroom and as their playground. Boise State University, real education for the real world.
Since 1962, one conference has stood apart from the rest, distinguishing itself on the playing field and in the classroom.
Making a difference in the lives of student athletes to help them build a foundation for successful careers. Celebrating 40 years of competition, this is the Western Athletic Conference, where actions count.
You know, it's a big weekend for Fresno and Boise. The Idaho Steelheads are visiting the Fresno Falcons, some minor league hockey. So it's not just Fresno State, Boise State. Their two local hockey teams are going at it this weekend in a rematch of the Taylor Cup Finals from a season ago. We bumped into a couple of Steelheads the other night.
No matter where we go, you can find the hockey.
And we have found it here. Third down and 5. Two receivers out to the right. And Pinegar had problems with the snap, able to pick it up and regroup, and making something out of nothing. No. Incomplete pass. Jermaine Jamison looked like he caught it when he was out of bounds.
Oh, and everybody came on the blitz again for Boise State. I mean, they brought everybody. And look, I mean, inside, outside, Pinegar dropped the ball, and then as he was fading back after that, there were 4 more guys coming after him.
And it's the man of the hour, Jason Simpson, is on. His leg's got to be a little tired, I'm thinking. Fresno State has crossed midfield just once in the game, and they were immediately penalized and pushed back to their side of the field. Another good punt by Simpson. And it is Gilligan from the 15. Stays in bounds. and took the hit as he was dropped at the 29-yard line by Todd Garcia. ABC football for you. Tomorrow, 4 great regional games, including the headliner, Ohio State against Wisconsin and Iowa State against Oklahoma. Tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. Maurice Claret, the subject of an article in the current edition of ESPN, the magazine, saying, hey, he's thinking about potentially challenging the rule about coming out after 1 year as a freshman and going to the NFL. What do you think?
I don't think he'll do that. Ultimately, I don't think he'll challenge it. That'll be too controversial, and I don't think he should. I mean, I think that's awful young to get into that league with everything you have to do at that level, off the field as well as on the field. I think being a junior takes you on to being in the NFL, but that's just one man's opinion. Certainly for a guy who's just played 1 year of college ball. Wingfield there. D. Meza was there as well. Incomplete pass to bring up a second down. But, you know, that other game that was up there that I like is that Iowa State-Oklahoma game. I mean, if you're Seneca Wallace, you got a chance to really impress some people across the country in the Heisman race because he's as good as anybody in that race right now. He's got a shot at it, and if he plays well in that ball game, hey, he may pick up a few more votes.
It's amazing how the Heisman race is shaking out. Guys are dropping off on the preseason list like it's going out of style. Dinwiddie, the handoff to Brock Forsey, and it's a loose football, and Fresno State has it. With 52 seconds left in the half, finally the Bulldogs get a break, and let's see what they can do with it. Cameron Worrell's got the football, and he's not giving it back, right?
First time anybody at Fresno State has been able to advance the ball anywhere. He wants to hang on to it. You know, Forsey's been banged up. You know, we talked about the concussion, we talked about the leg, but that ball just gets stripped. Jason Stewart, who's been knocked around today, gets his arm in there and knocks the ball out.
So here's an opportunity for Fresno State. They have 2 timeouts to play with here in the final 52 seconds. Pinegar, quick drop and a throw. It's batted in the air, and it falls to the blue turf. Tony Altieri, the senior from Vista, California, made the block, knocked down the pass.
This is your test for your defense. This is your sudden change situation when you have a turnover, and they've been dominating so far tonight. So what do? You say, hey guys, sudden change. We go out there, same routine. Change is nothing. We still dominate. That's the challenge to the Boise State defense. Fresno State, obviously, they've got to have points, Steve.
Even a field goal, something positive to take into the locker room. So second down and 10. Pinegar throwing into a crowd, but he's able to connect down to the 15 to DeAndre Gilbert. Chris Carr was there, and they'll stop the clock with the first down. They'll move the chains. Again, they do have 2 timeouts remaining. It's a 17-yard game.
Hurry, but don't rush. They've got plenty of time to get things done here.
Now they wind the clock, and they'll spike it to stop it. 39 ticks left.
Good time management here. I mean, that's what you do. You got your first down, you rush up to the line of scrimmage, you take your time. You don't want to hurry, you don't want to rush. If you rush, you make mistakes. You want to hurry up, get there, down the ball, get your play called. Now you got a chance. You got plenty of time and plenty of timeouts to make something happen.
Just about set for the halftime report again. Fisher DeBerry is coming up. Talk about the big matchup tomorrow night here on ESPN. Air Force and Notre Dame. Here's Pinegar. He's got a man. Touchdown! And Fresno State trying to get back. It's Jermaine Jamison, the redshirt freshman from Carson, California, coming up with a touchdown catch of 15 yards, and Pinegar was on the mark.
Oh, beautiful throw. But you know something? He got a gimme. He got a 2-deep coverage down here where you really can't cover that territory. That is a lot of stress on your safeties to play a 2-deep coverage down in the red zone.
And Asen Asparuhov comes on. We have not seen him since the opening kickoff of the game. And he'll look to give Fresno State their 7th point of the game, and the extra point is up, and it is good. And with 34 seconds left, Fresno State able to cash in on the fumble by Brock Forsey.
Here's your 2-deep coverage right here. These guys are responsible for half of the field. You're going to run a post inside here. That's tough. You've got a lot of room in there to work. A lot of room. The inside receiver actually who gets in behind the linebacker. A lot of room for that safety to cover back there. There you see Jermaine Jamison. He just gets behind the linebacker and in front of the safety. And the safety had to be concerned about the outside receiver, and there in the inside receiver, Pat Hill, when he saw that coverage, he went, we got a chance to get one, and we got it.
Jermaine Jamison is one of the players for Fresno State that's taking advantage of the injury to Bernard Berrien, their outstanding wide receiver and return man, who has made it official. Berrien will redshirt. So Fresno State will get another year out of that superstar. And I know Mel Kiper Jr. had him in the top 5 among college football players potentially coming into this season.
He's a great player, and he had lost his explosiveness. Even though he was getting himself back and he probably could have played, he didn't have that same explosion that he did last year. And so he's going to take the year, get ready, get healthy, get back for next year, make himself probably a first-round pick.
Asparuha will kick it off. We'll see what Boise State will try to do with it. David Michael up to the 20 and down to the 23. Took a bit of a late hit down. He looked like he was already down on the blue turf, but no flag. 29 seconds left. Boise State does have 3 timeouts, but they'll likely run out the clock and just take a 27-7 lead into the locker room at halftime. And there, your quarterback controversy.
Oh, it used to be a controversy. Actually, it works. It's all good when you got the guy in the first quarter, this guy does it well. And then in the second quarter, the other guy comes in and does it well.
And you would not expect to see Rhode again tonight? Or would you?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I think it's been close enough where you could play Rhode again, you know, maybe third quarter, and then come right back with Dinwiddie later in the ballgame.
But if Dinwiddie is going to be your guy, and he's shown he is healthy, why change back?
I would not necessarily want to put all the stress on him, you know, with the
First game back
if you don't have to. I think if it's a close ball game and he's your guy, then maybe you want him in because he's done it. He did it to Fresno State last year. But if you got a big lead, I might say, hey, you got your feet wet, you're a starter next week.
The Rhode-Dinwiddie combination, 14 of 19, 170 yards. We're at halftime in Boise, Idaho, and it's 27-7. The Broncos lead the Bulldogs. We'll see you for the second half, but here's Reese Davis.
Well, Steve, we had a thriller that went right down to the wire between these two last year. Fresno State still has a lot of work to do if they're going to take it to the end in this one, down 20 at the half. Glad to have you with us on the College Game Day.
Halftime festivities just about over here in Boise. The Broncos blowing out the Bulldogs 27-7. Steve Levy and Rod Gilmore in college football Friday night. Thoughts from Heather Cox. And in case you're just joining us, Rod in the first half pulled a Sharpie out of his sock and autographed his football for me while Boise State was socking Fresno State around the field. Late turnover. Fresno State gets a touchdown. Back in the football game?
A smooth segue, and I think Fresno State's trying to look for a smooth segue to the second half with their turnover late that got them to 7 points. They got to get back in. Now, remember last year, Boise State scored late in the first half. They came back to win that ball game. That's what Fresno State needs now. They need a chance to get back out there, get the ball, and they're receiving the ball in the second half, Steve. They have to continue in the second half the way they ended the first half. But you heard Mark and you heard Trev talk about it. Fresno State has been beaten to the punch, and Boise State's been more physical.
Those were harsh words spoken. I mean, Pat Hill, that's, you know, one of those things he so-called hangs his hat on in terms of effort and being competitive, and they really weren't in that first half. But they've got the football. We've got Reese Davis.
Steve, our high school showcase is just about in the bag. Parkview against Norcross down in the greater Atlanta area. This is Brad Lester. Brad Lester, Parkview's going to house it. 56 yards out. Parkview rolling. 2-point conversion made it 36-7. They're number 2 in the country. And remember, we're going to look at number 1, De La Salle, next week.
You know, I think what we ought to do is just roll number 2 through. De La Salle keeps playing number 2 until somebody knocks him off.
On first down and 10, here's Pinegar, sideline, and let's see, will they give it to him? No. They're going to say he was out of bounds. It was very close.
A little something for the effort. That was a great catch.
Marquade Davis over the shoulder from Paul Pinegar. As we flash back, both quarterbacks had a terrific first half for Boise State.
Yeah, Rhode with short passes, but then you got the deep passes from Dinwiddie, and in the running game, 153 yards total. Forsey carrying the load, but then a late score by Fresno State with Jermaine Jamison getting the score that gave them a chance to get back in the ballgame when they got the second half kick. Now they've got a chance.
After the incompletion, and Pinegar really had his man, Davis, and just put it over the wrong shoulder. Pinegar will try the middle of the field. And he's able to complete down to the 40 to DeAndre Gilbert. You know, prior to that touchdown pass at the end of the first half by Pinegar, maybe someone out there thinking, hey, are we going to see Jeff Grady at quarterback? But Pinegar probably allowed to hang on with that touchdown pass. You look at the numbers, total yards stand out a bit.
Yeah, but how about those rushing yards? 7 yards. And you know Fresno State believed they could run the football on this team.
Absolutely. And Boise State really expected that. They would be pounded away by that Fresno State offensive line and Rodney Davis, and it just has not materialized. Here's Davis for a gain of 2, and here is Heather Cox.
Steve, no surprises from the Fresno State coaching staff. Absolutely disgusted with their lack of offense in the first half. As far as Boise State goes, I do have some answers for you. Ryan Dinwiddie, after going 6 of 8 and passing for 100 yards, will play the entire second half, barring any further injury. Back to you.
Hey, a good call out of you, partner.
And Heather, the answer woman, providing the knowledge.
Well, I guess he convinced everybody what we were convinced of in practice yesterday.
Yep.
He's it. He's back.
And that has nothing to do with the way B.J. Rhode played, but a Dinwiddie show the rest of the way. Here's Pinegar down the sideline, and a terrific catch, and that will count. DeAndre Gilbert on the far side of the field, and that was a nice-looking ball.
Yeah, and what's happening now is Fresno State has said, okay, you're going to bring guys, you're going to get the 8th guy in the box, we're going to blitz you out of it. We're going to throw the bomb on you. You give us man coverage, we'll go. We've seen it twice already in this first drive. Gilbert comes up with the great catch, inbounds, just as they missed one earlier. So as long as they see the single coverage, they'll go after it.
Gilbert's 5th catch of the game for 84 yards. That last one was good for 28. On first down and 10. Across midfield. There's a story, Rod. Here's Pinegar now. Under pressure. And will throw it away as he was being chased out of bounds by Andy Avalos.
Well, Pinegar is not a quarterback who likes to throw the ball on the move. And you could see at that time, he had a little trouble finding his guy down the field. He's under a lot of duress and got rid of it. But they've got a drive going that Pat Hill has to be happy about. I mean, they haven't done anything like this all game long. Come out in the second half, first drive, get a big play, you got something going.
Pat Hill told us he does not want Pinegar looking over his shoulder. Not there for the play, looking over his shoulder about Jeff Grady. It's not his job to lose now, no quick hook. And he came on with that touchdown pass, end of the first half, and now he's got the team moving until now. Saw something he didn't like, he'll spend a timeout with 13:31 to play in the third quarter. Fresno State trailing by 20, but on the move. If someone can hear us down there, I'll take 2. Well done with some sauerkraut.
And they're both for you.
Rod? There's a little side salad off to the left there, which is just out of our camera's view for Rod's dinner.
Can't eat that stuff.
Bronco Stadium. 30,000 odd hands. On second down and 10. Here's Pinegar now. Blitzes on. Picked up the first guy. And Michael brought him down. Quentin Michael was the player they did pick up, and he still got him.
Yeah, Rodney Davis tried to take him, and Michael was having none of it. And Q Michael just came through Davis, and Pinegar hurt himself by stepping into where Michael was coming from. But he was not going to get blocked. He said, you know, you got a little running back here who's going to pick me up? I don't think so.
That is Michael's 2nd sack, 3rd of the game for the Broncos. By the way, Quentin Michael and David Michael, they spell it the same way, they pronounce it the same way. They believe they are not related, despite the fact they have similar ears. That's what they say, is a similar trait, but that they don't believe they're actually related. Here's Pinegar, looking for 6, down the sideline, just too far for his intended target, Marquez Davis.
Well, he had him. He had him out there. He just overthrew him. They got the coverage they wanted. We've seen this almost every other play in the second half. What do? They get the blitz, they go deep. If they pick up the blitz, they take the shot down the field, they get the one-on-one coverage. They believe their wide receivers can beat the Boise State corners anytime. And they've done it. They just haven't hit these things.
And Simpson on to punt. He's punted 6 times already, averaging 42.3 yards punting. Of course, the net is what's important here, and let's see. It will go out at the 2-yard line. Make it the 3. A 35-yard punt, but it's perfect for Simpson. Boise State ball next.
ESPN's presentation of primetime college football brought to you by Gateway, a better way, and by Universal Pictures. From Academy Award-winning director Jonathan Demme, The Truth About Charlie, in theaters October 25th.
We are back in Boise, Idaho. And on first down and 10 from the 3-yard line, Ryan Dinwiddie. And there was contact before the snap. Stewart might have jumped. And we'll sort out the flag. Penalty, a big, big problem in the first half, really, for both teams.
And they called it on Boise State. Even though Jason Stewart jumped, I guess they actually got Boise State on it.
Did we miss the announcement by the referee?
No, they just moved it back 1.5 yards. Right. You know, half the distance, yeah.
Handoff, trying to get some breathing room as Brock Forsey. Demorio Rhode made the stop. Not much breathing room. Still shy of the 5-yard line.
So this is when the Fresno State defense has to deliver something. You know, it's time for them to step up. They've got Boise State pinned in. You know Boise State would like to pound it out of there, but Fresno State's got to get something going. And that means Nick Burley has got to find a way to get involved down here as well. Not just Jason Stewart inside, but Burley's got to get in there and make some plays.
And Boise State will take a timeout. Interesting time to take a timeout with the ball at their own 3-yard line. But time to tell you about tomorrow night's pivotal contest. It's the college football game everybody's buzzing about, and we've got it for you right here on ESPN. The game day guys are going to be there early in the morning, and the game at night at 10 Eastern. It's Notre Dame. It is Air Force. And Air Force looking to shake some things up in the BCS. And there you see Tyrone Willingham and what he has done. And where will he want to? You know, that's a good question. Which is the bigger surprise to you? That Notre Dame is 6-0 or that Air Force is 6-0?
You know, actually, I'm not surprised by either. I think, no, I expected Air Force to be good this year.
All right.
And I think you had to know Notre Dame was going to be good. And for them,
6-0 good?
Well, you know, Michigan, you knew wasn't going to be great as they were before, so they had a chance in those games. Maryland, you knew, didn't have the same type of stuff coming back with Perry being hurt. So a stretch? No, I don't think it was a stretch at all. Okay. I mean, I think some people started looking at it after the first 2 games and saying, hey, they could be 6-0 heading to Florida State. So I don't think it's a stretch. Once they got Maryland and they had Michigan, I think you had to start believing, hey, this team could get to 6-0, possibly 7-0.
Should be interesting viewing tomorrow night. And there's the rent-a-car I was talking about without a CD player. Rod?
Yeah, well, you might, I don't know where that one's going to take you.
Would that have an 8-track? Is that what we think?
Back in the day, huh?
After the timeout, 3rd down and 10. Here's Dinwiddie, rolling to his right, throwing on a run down the sideline. And what a grab if they give it to him. Pat Hill is right there, and they say it will be a catch. Lou Fanucchi coming up with the grab.
And that's what Pat Hill says he can't have. Right in front of him, he wants to be able to work the officials and not let that happen. But Lou Fanucchi makes a great catch. It looked to me like he did come down inbounds. I think it was a good call. Let's see if his body does land in there. Well, he's got part of his leg looks like inside, and then part of the body outside. Yep,
Yeah.
yep. Foot touches down first before the knee,
Yep.
and the rest of the body comes down. Great call.
Good call. These college football officials have certainly been under fire throughout the nation. Brock Forsey, the ball carrier.
Brock Forsey,
And-
the ball carrier.
Now, that was a good call by the officials. But there have been times this season when there have been some real issues with the officiating. But that was a good call, Steve.
Second down and 7. Ball caught. Second down and 8. Upcoming. Single setback is Michael. Off the play action. Dinwiddie to throw, and that is caught. And a terrific move down the sideline by Billy Wingfield. And he's across midfield and bumped out at about the 40-yard line.
What a terrific play. Great throw, great catch, great move by Wingfield. Shake and bake to get loose. But it's a good throw. Watch the route here. He reads it well, comes back in. Now watch. Adjusts to the ball, and woo, little slip there.
What's that coming out of Wingfield, the back there, that back protector?
Yeah, it's the lower part of the pads that is like a, what do you call those things on the back of the race cars, you know? Spoilers?
Spoiler?
You got a spoiler.
A spoiler protector. There's a good look at it there. It's more of the outstanding camera work we have seen throughout.
When you're that fast, you got to have a spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want the back end coming up while you're running.
Want to be aerodynamic
Yeah,
that
exactly.
way. Sure.
Just power right through it.
Wingfield's numbers, 6 catches for 122 yards. And his Boise State pass offense doesn't look like they're missing Jay Swilly much. And he was certainly one of their go-to guys. Casey just joining us. He was suspended. We were told violation of team rules. As Heather reported earlier, apparently got into a bit of an altercation with one of his teammates in the locker room, I think, prior to practice on Wednesday, or following practice on Wednesday. And that's got to be disappointing, certainly, to Swilly here in the big game, arguably the biggest game regular season in Boise State home history. But back to the officiating, Rod. Is there more mistakes being made on the field, or are we just talking about it more nationwide with the officials?
Well, I think there are more mistakes, and I think as I talk to coaches and people around the country, I think the coaches definitely feel that the officiating has slipped a little bit. You know, you go back conference by conference, you know, California and USC, a blown call for a touchdown that hurt California. You know, you go back to the Big Ten, Penn State and Joe Pa, he's had issues not once, but a couple times. We saw the very first week of the season some problems. So I think there has been a little bit of a fall off, but in truth, I think another thing is going on. Coaches are more willing to speak about it publicly. In the past, there was a lot of discussion privately to deal with it and to get rid of officials or something, but now people are fed up because it's so sloppy, moving on it, getting public.
And the big name people are coming out, like Joe Paterno, and talking about it. Dinwiddie on the run, connecting with Rocky Atkinson, trying to dive in. Will they give it to him? Where's the signal in? Touchdown! Rocky Atkinson, his second touchdown of the game. 39 yards in the score.
But Steve, Rocky Atkinson does not get in the end zone without the block of Gilligan. I think Tim Gilligan gave him a great block at around the 15 to spring him to get into the end zone.
Calaycay is on for the extra point, and he remains perfect on the night. Ryan Dinwiddie on that drive, 3 of 3 for 95 yards. That was 39 yards to his tight end, Rocky Atkinson. It's all Broncos. Back in Boise, Idaho, and it's all Broncos over the Bulldogs right now, 34-7. As we were talking about the officials, Rod, we're without our line judge now, Robert Baker. And the officiating crew will be one man short on the field. If there's any word on Mr. Baker, we'll certainly pass that along. Tyler Jones puts it in the air. And again, Fresno State can't get a return. Jones has been great on those kickoffs.
Steve, 2 things to watch on that lost touchdown. Watch Ryan Dinwiddie. The left ankle looks pretty good to me. I think maybe he's proven everybody wrong. He is okay. Scrambles to his left, makes a nice throw. And then watch the block right there. Tim Gilligan. Great block. Watch it. Seals it off right there, allows Rocky Atkinson to get into the end zone. That's a great block.
Atkinson came in with 1 touchdown catch on the season. He's got 2 tonight. And the smile that you would expect. Hey, both quarterbacks on the Boise State side can certainly smile. They've both been excellent tonight. Here's Pinegar once again trying to rally the troops. And that's not going to get it done. A little short dump off to the tight end, Duncan Reed. 10.5 to play here in the 3rd quarter.
So what do you think? The blue turf? Blue turf had an effect on Fresno State?
I don't know, Rod. I'd like to think it was the guys in the blue.
The guys in the blue. I think the guys in the blue have brought a little something tonight. They've just been wicked in their hits.
2nd and short. Want to take a shot here on 2nd and 2?
What the heck? Why not?
Or hand it off. And the short of the first down, Rodney Davis. Go down to the field. Here's Heather.
Steve, a little bit more information on the officials. Yes, Bob Baker is the line judge that was injured. He strained his left quad. He appears to be in a tremendous amount of pain. He is taken back to the Idaho Sports Medicine Institute for a little bit more checking. What they're going to do is go from a 7-man rotation to what they call 6-man mechanics. It changes the shift in the way that they officiate this game.
All right, Heather, thank you. So the back judge, Scott Allen, will move up. So we'll play without a back judge for the time being. Pinegar will hand it off on 3rd and 1, and they get the first down yardage.
Best running play of the night for Fresno State. I mean, that time Davis got a chance to make a move, had a little bit of room, a little great footwork in there, and picks up a first down. Something that they really haven't been able to do on the ground at all tonight.
That's Fresno State's first 3rd down conversion. On 1st down and 10. Fresh set of downs. Look at the total yards to this point. Whew. Pretty much indicative of what you'd expect in a 34-7 game.
I mean, this is a team, an offense of Fresno State that moved the ball against Oregon, Wisconsin, Colorado State.
Here's Pinegar, play action, looking down the middle of the field. Lost one for Marquez Davis. Got it! Touchdown, Marquez Davis. They've been taking their shots, and that time it worked. 65-yard scoring strike, Pinegar to Davis.
Well, we talked about it earlier. They get the single coverage. Fresno State likes that. They love that matchup because they believe their receivers are faster and better than the corners of Boise State. And we've seen nothing tonight to disprove that. And they've had the corners beaten on a number of occasions when there's been single coverage, but they've been overthrown. They've been short. That time, Pinegar was on target.
Excessive celebration is the reason for the flag.
Yeah, you know, Davis went into the end zone, struck a pose as he looked into the stands, like, how you like me now?
I'm all for celebration, especially in college, Rod, but you're losing 34-13.
Yeah.
What are you celebrating?
Yeah, that's when you defensively you just say, guy, look at the scoreboard.
Oh,
you know?
That's embarrassing for the youngster. The extra point. Asparuhov is on. It's like a 35-yard field goal now. Asparuhov is true and only get one, and another flag falls.
Well, it doesn't seem like there's any trouble calling penalties, even though they've gone one guy short on the officiating crew.
Good point.
Running into the kicker for personal foul.
On the try, personal foul, roughing the kicker against the defense. The try is good. The penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Marquez Davis. Now in the last 4 games, he's had 3 long touchdowns, 72 yards, 67 yards, and that one for 65. It's 34-14. Back in the 3rd quarter, it'd be tough to imagine this going any better for Boise State. And their head coach, Dan Hawkins, in his 2nd year, took over for Dirk Cutter, who came off consecutive 10-win seasons, take over Arizona State's program. And Asparuhov will put it in the air from the 50. That's after the penalty markage on the extra point. Brock Forsey from the 10. Forsey will cut to the middle of the field, and he's dropped at the 21-yard line.
See, let's go back to that touchdown. We'll see the coverage that Marquez Davis deals with. Press coverage here. Free safety helping in the center, but free safety is only 8 yards deep. Marquez Davis sees that. He says, you got to be kidding me. You got to get further back than 8 yards if you want to take the deep ball away from me, and you're the free safety. Runs by the corner, runs by the free safety, piece of cake. Avoids the chuck at the line of scrimmage and just sprints past the free safety, Wes Nurse, who was lined up only 8 yards near the line of scrimmage.
First down and 10 now from the 21-yard line. Two receivers to the right for Ryan Dinwiddie, who came in as expected. First possession of the second quarter. Dinwiddie's going to put it in the air. Down the middle of the field has Matt Tropis, the fullback, coming out of the backfield, and he has him for the big gain.
Well, they weren't expecting this, and Dinwiddie comes out firing right down the middle. He actually had his choice, Steve. He had two guys deep, had his choice there, picked the one he wanted. Big play.
It's a 28-yard gain. Sneak the old fullback out there, right?
Yeah, why not?
And they're at midfield. Hey, everything's working tonight for Boise State. On first down and 10 now. Out of the guy. Tropis is the fullback. And they'll go play action. Dinwiddie under pressure. Escapes the pressure. Throws down the middle of the field. Able to complete to Fanucchi. And Fanucchi will finally be dropped at the 33-yard line. You know, Rhode was making a cogent point earlier, and I lost some of my focus on that. That's because you can see this is our broadcast location. A media guide and some notes went flying
right
out.
There.
Yeah, it stuck, and it made it worse because someone in the stands actually was pelted, and I hope that's interesting reading.
Hey, you're not so sharp after all. This guy's reading. He's like, hey, that's how that guy knows all that stuff.
I could really use some of that information.
And then he tells his buddy, he says, hey, this is that guy Levy. This is what he's talking about.
That was my blowout material, Rod. Let's hope this thing gets a little closer. That was some enjoyable reading. Handoff. It's Forsey spinning down to the 20-yard line. Cameron Worrell made the stop.
Now, you don't need your notes to know he's a good player.
And I also don't need him to know that Worrell, who has 9 tackles so far, you know what? That's too many for your free safety. That means you're getting into the secondary.
Way too many with what they have going on here. They have just been dominated at the line of scrimmage by the Boise State offensive line. We have talked so much about Darren College, number 73, the left tackle, who's a redshirt freshman. He's had a whale of a ball game. He has just dominated anybody who's lined up over him.
Forsey has rushed for over 100 yards, over 200 last week, over 100 here. David Michael to change it up a little bit, maybe gets one on the play.
You okay without those notes, buddy?
It's not ideal, Rod, quite frankly. I spent a lot of hours on those notes, but I'll try to make it through. 7 minutes left here in the third quarter. You know, the guys in the studio talked about it. We've talked about it. And when was the last time you saw a Pat Hill offense really be dominated, especially in that first half? The guys who will go anywhere, will play anybody, and usually plays everybody close. Here in their own conference, have really struggled. Michael is the ball carrier. Sam Williams made the stop.
Well, when you are smaller, you better hit before the other guy hits you. And that's what Boise State has done. That's why they're atop the WAC conference. Fresno State, bigger offensive line, bigger defensively. Boise State has punched them first in the mouth, punched them hard before Fresno State could react.
See San Jose State, I'm sure they're watching this game. They play Nevada tomorrow in an important WAC game. Boise closing in on 500 yards of total offense tonight. And some flags fly. Boise State has won 11 straight conference games at home, scoring 40-plus points in every one of those games. They've outscored the opposition in those games 54-17 on average. And here they've got 34 already, and we're halfway through the third quarter.
Illegal substitution, 12 men on the field on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it's still third down.
And remember, Fresno State has not lost a conference game since they lost to Hawaii last year. So coming into this, when you knew it was cliche time, something's got to give.
And it's given all on the Fresno State side tonight. Since Boise State lost to Idaho in '98, they've won 22 of 23 games here. They lost to Washington State 41-20 in last season's opener. So don't laugh about the blue turf. There's something special going on here in Boise. Now that ball is tipped, not picked off. Sam Williams was really come on again. The defensive captain for Fresno State missed the last 3 games, returned, did not start, but he's certainly having an impact. I think of all the guys in the Fresno State defense, we've called his name the most.
Well, you're right. You know, a little bit of pressure that time, get the ball up, but Williams shows up. He gets his hands on it. Nice play by him. They haven't made enough plays, but Sam Williams made a play that time. They need a few more of those, and if they have any chance of getting back and winning this ball game.
Calaycay is on. Looking at 37 yards, already 2 for 2. 27, 28, and he is good from 37, 36 yards away. Nick Calaycay bangs it through. And he and Forsey continue to go back and forth as the all-time scoring leader for Boise State. Of course, when Calaycay kicks it, it's 3 or 1 for the extra point. Forsey goes through it. It's good for 6. Sunday NFL Countdown comes away at 11 a.m. Eastern. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, Sterling Sharp, Steve Young, Chris Mortensen, and Bill Parcells get you ready for your NFL Sunday. They'll look at the resurgence of that Tampa Bay Buccaneer defense coming up.
Whoa. Resurgence? I thought they always played defense in Tampa Bay.
I don't know if it was the same, but they've come back as you would expect. And then there's NFL prime time to see just how good that Buck defense was at 7:30.
There's a guy who's one of the better young coaches in the country. He is a disciple of the Mike Bellotti, Dirk Cutter guys. He believes in what they believe in, maintains a good relationship with them, talks with them on occasion, but he is out of that mode, the wide open offense. Believes a little bit in getting some power running when you can, but he's an Oregon and an Arizona State guy, you know?
Marquez Davis. Another knee. 7 of 8 times they've been kicked off 2. They've had touchbacks, and that's certainly a credit to the man who kicks off, Tyler Jones. There you see a Broncos Stadium record tonight. 30,924. They have packed this place. Previous highs have been when another Idaho school plays here, as you would expect. And the Humanitarian Bowl, of course, is always played here. But they filled every seat possible. Nearly 31,000 certainly enjoying their night tonight and making plenty of noise. 5.5 left here in the third. Pinegar, the pump. Now they'll check it down and dump it off. Out to the 25 is Rodney Davis.
Well, sometimes the best decisions you make are the ones where you don't throw the ball. And that's what Pinegar did that time. He was looking for Jermaine Jamison out to his right side, and he pulled the ball down as he talked about the pump. If he had thrown that thing, it would have been picked. That's why he came back off and went to Davis.
2nd down and 4 upcoming. Pinegar, quick drop, and that ball, he released it when DeAndre Gilbert came out of his break. The football was already there, and he couldn't hang on. 5-4.
That's why you do that drill. You do the drill before the game where the ball is thrown, and then you turn around the last second, just for that occasion. So the receiver's got to catch that ball. He's got to expect that ball out of the break.
3rd and 4 upcoming.
3rd down has not been good for Fresno State.
And the crowd, the record crowd, making themselves heard. Pinegar out of the break and delivering to Marquez Davis. Julius Brown was there on the coverage, but that'll quiet the crowd momentarily. It's 1st down.
You think you give Davis a little bit of room after he goes 65 big ones on you? Yeah.
It seems to me that deep ball has been there tonight for Fresno State. Pinegar might have been off the wrong shoulder, over the wrong shoulder on his receivers. Well, the receiver not hanging on.
You're right. The guess for Fresno State is if they're in man, we go deep. If they're in zone, we got to come off them. They're going to lay off them.
Because they've done such a good job coming up to play the run, as you pointed out earlier, Rod. But the deep ball has been there. Blitz coming. Pinegar unloads. And that one's not even close. Pinegar was hit as he released. Jermaine Jamison was the intended target that time.
Yeah, and he was shaking his hand. Pinegar was shaking his right hand. And he might have hit it on the helmet or so, but he came off of this thing shaking his hand. Watch here. He's going to let it fly. Goes right to his arm. He shakes it after that, looks at it. Didn't look like he hit it on a helmet, but he must have hit a pad or something as he went by.
2nd down and 10. Pinegar the drop. And the throw into trouble. And he's picked off. Intercepted by Clint Furr. The redshirt freshman from Las Cruces, New Mexico, comes up with the pick. And that's the one thing Pinegar had not been doing, turning over the football. He came in with 87 attempts without an interception.
Well, like most young quarterbacks, he got a little bit impatient, never looked backside. Didn't realize that Clint Furr was sitting right there. All he saw was his receiver moving from left to right. He never looked right to left and didn't see Furr sitting in the middle.
So updating, it was 117 consecutive pass attempts without being picked off. And Furr is the thief. And because of it, the Broncos take over and find field positions. Rick Forsey off the pitch. Got plenty of running room on the far side. And he is taken out a big way, but not until he's dropped to the 19, Cameron Worrell. That's a great example. Another stop by Worrell, but after a huge gain.
Yeah, but you know, Worrell was the receiver on that. I mean, when you come to tackle Brock Forsey, you better be prepared because he's going to finish the run. Watch him finish this run. He's going to get Worrell. He's not taking. He gives a little bit. He knows it's coming. He dips the shoulder. He gives it.
I think both backs, Forsey and Michael, have really administered some punishment on those Fresno State defensive backs.
Yeah. That's an attitude. It is all an attitude when you're running with the ball.
Forsey now 19 carries, 128 yards. And give it to him again. And he is brought down at the 15-yard line, and the clock continues to tick away. Coming up on 4 minutes to play here in the 3rd quarter. And it's been all Boise State.
Now, didn't Forsey sort of give himself a mild concussion in the 1st quarter, falling on his own head, but didn't seem to bother him? There you see what he's done. He goes to the left, big yardage, 36 yards on 2 carries. He's been a workman in the middle, pretty good to the right side.
2nd down and 6, and Winfield in motion to the near side. And they'll pitch it to Michael. Try to cut it back inside, and Todd Garcia brought him down.
If you compare the running styles of the two, you can see that Forsey is much more decisive when he cuts back. And you see Michael kind of looks and picks at it a little bit, but Forsey goes right now. I mean, he makes that cut, and he goes right back, cutting back, looking for that hole.
The Boise State offense, Rod, now has 513 yards, and we haven't even finished the 3rd quarter yet. Donnie Heck checks in for his first action. That's Heck in motion. They fake it to him, and Dinwiddie will swing it out to Michael. Cut it back inside the 5, and he's finally brought down there by Jason Stewart.
Well, that's a good example of another cutback run. And Michael made a much more decisive cut coming back that time. You know, the Fresno State defense had this plan. The plan was, don't let these guys cut back. Force them to the sideline. Our speed is better. Make them run to the sideline. They're still cutting back on them.
You can preach that stay in your lane, but it's so tempting to get out of it as a defensive player, I would think.
That's true. It is.
1st down and goal. Michael will stop and start, cut back, and right back to the line of scrimmage. Bring it a 2nd down and goal. Claude Sanders made the tackle.
You know, it's been a long time since we've seen the Fresno State defense kind of manhandled like this. And we've seen a 98-yard drive where Boise State threw the ball in the 2nd half and ran the ball at will against this Fresno State defense.
When you think about the 3 losses that Fresno State has, all on the road against teams who were ranked, Wisconsin, Oregon State, 2 of them are very close, and we're blown out in the other. And flags fly.
on the offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
The Fresno State defense, that's going to hurt your statistics.
Yeah.
And you give up those kind of numbers. Wow.
And you're not in the fourth quarter.
Right. It'll be some flight home, huh?
Nothing good about it. If you're a Fresno State Bulldog, nothing good about this. They had opportunities to make plays and give the offense a chance to do something. They did not pay it off.
Boise State has taken a timeout. They have one remaining with 1:44 left here in the third quarter. You're Pat Hill. I mean, total breakdown, right? Offense, defense, anything positive you can take out of this to this point? Probably not, right?
Not yet. I mean, I think he still has a chance to get his guys going, but they've got to be more physical. I mean, particularly with their offensive line. They have not run the ball at all. It's getting a little late to run it, but they got to dominate, and they haven't done that at all offensively.
Next to the 3 tough losses for Fresno State, they played 4 of their first 5 games on the road. Didn't have a single home game in September. So there you see they've got 3 home games coming up. We will be in Fresno for that one next Friday night as Hawaii comes to town on ESPN2, and then Tulsa and Nevada will hit town as well. So look to take advantage of 3 consecutive home games. And Fresno State certainly enjoys a nice home advantage at Bulldog Stadium. Their crowds have been excellent in this Pat Hill era.
Well, they're going to have to show up next week because Hawaii is going to bring Timmy Chang and some offense.
That figures to be a most entertaining game next Friday night on ESPN2. We'll all be there for college football Friday night. 5 seconds to snap it. And they do. Dinwiddie, quick throw to Michael. He's inside the 5, down to the 4-yard line. Todd Garcia made the tackle. 2 teams that are not ranked. However, if you're not going to be nationally ranked, Rod, you'd like to be in the category of others receiving votes. And both of these schools were. Boise State got 28 votes. Fresno State got 4. And Boise State in our mid-major top 10, they ranked number 6. Air Force ranked number 1. And oh, by the way, they're playing Notre Dame tomorrow night on ESPN.
I think Boise State might move up a little bit in our poll for the mid-majors.
Absolutely. And that ball is nearly intercepted. Dinwiddie tried to set up the screen and was looking to go to Darren College. That was an intended pass, really behind the line of scrimmage, to Darren College, the left tackle.
Yeah, that's the lateral, which they botched. They didn't get it done, but take a look at this top 10 ranking. There's Air Force, and if they beat Notre Dame Saturday night, Air Force will still be up top. But if they should lose, what an opportunity for Bowling Green to move up. Marshall you'd expect to find in there, but Boise State sitting at 5. After tonight's performance, chance to move.
Now, Rod, any chance of breaking into the top 25? This is a home victory like this over a credible team like Fresno State in impressive fashion, and it looks like it's going to be even more impressive now. It is Calaycay, a 32-yard field goal, 40 on the board. Could they break into the top 25?
I think it's 6-1 with a win over a quality opponent on national television, assuming that there isn't a breakdown in the fourth quarter by Boise State. Yeah, I think they have a shot to get some votes. If they finish it as strong as they have so far, absolutely.
Mid-major is all that nice, but to be in the top 25, that's something. Look at Heather.
To make a bowl, beat Fresno State when they were the number 8. They also beat offensive powerhouse Hawaii, but they didn't get it done against mid-range Rice. That kept them out of playing at home in the Humanitarian Bowl. So during spring ball, they decided, hey, we need to control our own destiny, and it starts now. So the team made up these T-shirts. It's Leave No Doubt. Absolutely control your own destiny each and every week. It's been a constant reminder for the last 8 months to get it done every weekend with a W.
Well, Heather, no doubt tonight who's been the better football team on this blue field.
Well, but the one thing about Boise State and the national rankings is their schedule. It is perceived as being weak, and they have not played as many quality opponents as, say, Fresno State.
And again, Marquez Davis. This has been a big part of the game, Rod. We should emphasize Tyler Jones, who does the kicking off for Boise State. the sophomore from here in Boise, 8 of his 9 kickoffs have not been returned. They've been touchbacks into the end zone. And got to be sound in the kicking game, and kicking off is underrated.
Well, you'd be hard-pressed to find any part of the game that Boise State hasn't done well in. And remember, Hawkins told us the other night, when they played Hawaii, he thought that was their most efficient game in all phases. I think they may be one-upping that tonight.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. He said they had their 2 worst practices leading up to that Hawaii game as well. That was somewhat surprising.
Oh, what a tackle.
Jermaine Jamison was brought down. Gabe Franklin.
Yeah, that's a great play. I mean, when you're out there one-on-one with a guy who can go the distance, and it's just you got to make the tackle, he wraps him up nicely. That's a good play.
The Boise State coaching staff, they talked about their 2 corners, Gabe Franklin and Julius Brown. They play hard every single play to find corners for the Broncos. It's a pretty good defensive backfield. Think about if you include your rover position, Quentin Michael there, and Wes Nurse, the free safety. Here's Pinegar. Going to take off. He's got plenty of blue in front of him. Across midfield. And he'll put a bit of a pounding on Julius Brown. Paul Pinegar taking off. So used to saying he's got plenty of green in front of him. Can't say that here tonight. It's a gain of 32 for Pinegar.
Well, every now and then you need your quarterback to make a play and get out of the pocket when there is a blitz like that, and he broke it out.
That'll do it. 3 quarters are complete. It's been all Boise State from the start. They've hung a 40 spot on the Bulldog defense. 4th quarter is coming up next. Sports Center is coming up next. Steve Levy, Rod Gilmore, Heather Cox. This is college football Friday night. Is it Go Giants? It is.
You got a problem with that?
Little World Series fever. Linda Cohn and John Anderson are standing by Sports Center as soon as this 4th quarter is over. Marquez Davis on the short pass. And we can call off the detective. I want to thank the Boise State fan who was kind enough to return my yellow legal pad. So I feel complete once again.
Yeah, notes.
And this has your home phone number on it, so you should be pretty happy I got it back as well. Hey, not surprised Boise State's winning. Have to be surprised the way they're winning by the domination.
Yeah, they've been dominating. I don't think anybody's played any better than Darren College. They'll find left tackle, the redshirt freshman, Fresno State, trying to get back into the deep passes now.
And that pass off the mark from Marquez Davis. Julius Brown was there.
You talk about Boise State and what they've done tonight. Over 300 yards passing, almost 200 yards rushing, and it's been their left tackle, to me, who's played as great as anybody tonight.
That is quite a compliment when you think about it. Darren College, talking about him, the redshirt freshman, at that pivotal position at the left tackle spot. And the coaching staff really raving about him, saying he hasn't missed a beat and will be very good with more experience, which is a nice compliment from the coaching staff.
He's been pretty good tonight.
He really caught a pass, too. 3rd down and 6. Pinegar juggled the snap now. And flags go down.
Offense. That's 5-yard penalty, and it's still 3rd down.
We want to salute the soldiers assigned to Camp Zama, Japan, watching this game on AFN, including the men and women of the 9th Theater Support Command, who provide logistic support for soldiers stationed throughout the Pacific. We say hi, and not only that, we say thank you. 3rd down and 11. Rod, what have they been talking about in the Valley? Are they going to bring up a quarterback situation in Fresno State? How much of this do you want to put on Pinegar or not at all?
No, I don't think it's Pinegar's issue at all. They've been whipped at the line of scrimmage tonight.
They just got that snap away. Pinegar down the sideline, and he's got a man, and it's a touchdown. Cancel the quarterback controversy. Jermaine Jamison, a 45-yard touchdown catch off the strike from Pinegar.
Well, nothing fancy about it. We've talked about it all night. They see man coverage. They run a streak. They run the go route. They believe their receivers can get by them, and they have. It was just a question of can you be on target, Mr. Pinegar? And he has been a couple times in the second half.
And Pinegar was pressured and still got the strike away. Andy Avalos put the pressure on. It's a 20-point game. Asparuhov will come on for the extra point. Thoughts of a stirring comeback have to be going through the minds of Fresno State. Asparuhov puts it through. Make it a 19-point game. Pinegar, after a 1-for-7 start, is now 17 of 35, 279 yards, and that was his third score. Two long touchdown catches, one by Marquis Davis on your left, that one by Jermaine Jamison, the last one. Two big plays, and yet they're still trailing 40-21. Still 14 minutes left to play here in the fourth quarter, Rod. Onside kick here?
Nah. Give your defense a chance to make a play. They haven't done it yet. Give them another chance.
And as long as they didn't get much of a return, here's Michael now. Now to the 20, trying to break it. Onside kick's looking pretty good about now, Rod. 40-30, where he's knocked out of bounds.
Well, I guess you knew it, didn't you?
David Michael on the kick return. 72 yards. Fresno State hasn't had any opportunities on a kick return. They hardly kick off, but when they do, David Michael takes advantage.
Well, I think they eased up a little bit, not expecting him to come out of the end zone, but he finds the lane, gets to the outside, and it's pure speed after that. And he got into the lane in a hurry. I think Fresno State was a little bit out of their lane coming down because they saw the kick go in the end zone, and they waited.
David Michael, the number 4 kick returner in the WAC, needs a couple more kick returns, and he will pass Forsey as the top kick returner in school history. On first down and 10, great field position after the return. There is Brooke Forsey. And it's a short game, and I'm sure Boise State would look to milk some of this clock and take some time off it. We came here, this looked like a showdown in the WAC. 2 of the 3 undefeated teams in the WAC, along with San Jose State. And Fresno State you think of as the powerhouse, and you know, in the preseason poll in the WAC, Boise State was picked 1, Louisiana Tech, last year's champion, picked 2, and Fresno State picked 3rd. And wow, that's really shaken out tonight. You can certainly see those preseason predictions looking pretty good right about now. Dinwiddie down the sideline to Wingfield, and he's just shy of the goal line.
Well, that's the fade route, and we saw something very interesting in practice yesterday. They practiced the fade route by putting 3 garbage cans in the corner of the end zone and then having the quarterback, Dinwiddie and B.J. Rhode, loft passes into the corner to the garbage can. And this is the same thing that they did in practice, only now you got a live receiver out there.
Wingfield having a big game, 7 catches, 146 yards. Again, no Jay Swilly. Suspended, so more balls to go around for everybody else. Pressure on Dinwiddie from the backside, and he got rid of it. Touchdown! What a throw! Ryan Dinwiddie was blasted, but not before he unloaded himself to Tim Gilligan. Touchdown, Boise State.
It's just what we saw yesterday. And you throw the fade in practice, you got to get the ball into the garbage can. So you got to throw it up, throw it high, and let it drop in. What's he do here? He waits for Gilligan to get out there. He throws it up, head over, like Gilligan is a garbage can, and lets the ball drop into him.
And Dinwiddie thinking, how's my ankle look now?
How you like me now?
And Calaycay for the extra point. Every time Fresno State inches back closer, Boise State's offense is there to show them who's boss. Who's boss tonight? 47-21.
ESPN's presentation of primetime college football, brought to you by Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Back at Broncos Stadium, a capacity crowd on hand, a record crowd tonight, nearly 31,000. And I think the party is well underway, Rod.
Really?
Boise State handling, just a guess, handling Fresno State. Adam Jennings, hey, a kick return. They're able to actually bring it out and look for something more. Out of bounds at the 30, good return by Jennings. Well, they brought back some of the big-time players in Boise State history tonight for this showdown matchup. Bart Hendricks is in attendance. Had a career, capped his record-setting career performance. The MVP in the 2000 Humanitarian Bowl. Had the big run, even caught a touchdown catch, and threw a touchdown pass to Jay Swilly, oh, by the way. And Hendricks, among the many former Boise State standouts, brought back the most famous coach in school history for this one. It's been a festive night here for the home team. And that ball is juggled and dropped, and Hendricks certainly has to be impressed with Ryan Dinwiddie, and Bart is standing by without Heather Cox.
Yeah, speaking of number 17, I found him here on the Broncos sideline now. What are your impressions of Ryan Dinwiddie? He's your successor, and so far pretty good?
Yeah, he's playing really well. It's unfortunate he got hurt during the first part of the season, but he stepped up nicely. He's playing really well tonight.
We've been standing here for a couple minutes, and I'm telling you, every Bronco player has come over here to shake your hand and say hello. How hard is it to watch from the sideline?
It's tough because you want to be out there playing. I know a lot of these guys just been being hurt a couple years ago, and it's tough to watch a football game, especially on the sidelines. So, but I'm having a great time. They're playing really well. So.
And the defense certainly impressive right now. Now you're up in Canada playing with the Edmonton Eskimos. You have a bye week. 12-4. What are your chances of a Grey Cup this year?
Hey, they're looking pretty good. There's some great players up there. We still got to win a few more games, but just take it one game at a time, and we should be all right.
All right, Bart, enjoy. Best of luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Stephen Rod, back to you.
Heather dropping a little Grey Cup knowledge.
Yeah, a little Canadian football stuff going there. I tell you, he was one of the great college quarterbacks that a lot of people never got a chance to see. He was really special.
Dinwiddie's been special tonight. Remember, he only entered early in the second quarter. He scored for nearly 300 yards and 3 scores. Here's Pinegar now. Little shovel, jumps it off underneath to Rodney Davis. And that'll bring up 4th down. Marty hands me this. Is this accurate, Marty? Marty has CFL knowledge. Montreal and Edmonton, by the way, the 2 top teams in the Canadian Football League. Why Marty Aronoff knows that, I have no idea. Montreal is 13-3. Edmonton is 12-4.
You know, those guys, CFL, they make Sports Center too. We get Canadian football in Sports Center.
Here's the punt. And it is Gilligan from the 12. And looking to find a seam. And he won't. He is dropped at the 22-yard line. Under 12 minutes to go. Boise State up 47-21 over Fresno State. And Rod, obviously the idea is to win football games regardless of your opponent. But in terms of building a program, what do you think of these 2 programs, the way they're going? Fresno State known for scheduling tough opponents, going on the road. Even a close loss could help you as opposed to a win over a softer team.
Yeah, Boise State doesn't believe in that philosophy. They believe in, hey, we want to schedule people we can beat, get a big record, and then go from there. I think Fresno State has it the right way.
Here's a long pass, and the man wide open is Fanucchi. Lou Fanucci down to the 20-yard line. And Dinwiddie keeps lighting up the air. 57 yards on the game.
He said he wanted to prove to everybody that he was back and he was ready. Well, watch this. This is a thing of beauty. He steps into this and just gives his receiver a chance to make the play. Puts it out there so he can run underneath it because he was wide open.
And the numbers on Dinwiddie, 16-19, Rod.
That's just sick. Wow, that is sick.
I mean, this guy hasn't played since September the 7th. Blown out in the loss, the only loss of the season to Arkansas, 41-14. Here's David Michael rumbling down the 5. And it's all going the way of the Broncos tonight.
Yeah, they're rolling over him. I want to get back to our point about, building your program.
Right.
And I said I didn't like the way Boise State does. I prefer Fresno State, and that's simply because if you are a mid-major team, you can't get there nationally unless you play the big boys and get an upset now and then. If you're Kansas State or somebody else and you're in a major conference, you can schedule lightly and get top 25. But if you're you're mid-major, you got to take somebody on.
615 yards, Rod. And look at, Tua spinning, Tua twice, 3 times. David Michael in the end zone. There is a flag.
But you know what else? That is a weak effort out of the Fresno State defense. That is, you got guys out there who've mailed it in. And Pat Hill is not going to tolerate. He's going to be sick of that. When he plays that tape back and he sees that play, he's going to say, what is this?
It's going to come back, but you're right. That is about the worst thing you can say about a team or a specific unit, a defensive unit like the Fresno State defense tonight.
On that play, nobody made an effort to get there, and they just let him go. I mean, you want guys, at this point, if I were Pat Hill, I'd say, give me my second team. Get those guys in there. Give me guys who want to play.
Michael was a pinball wizard there, just bouncing off tacklers and spinning around, but it all comes back. So first down and goal after the penalty, and they take over now from the 11, off play action. Dinwiddie to Michael. Dinwiddie was hit, and Michael's going to get his touchdown anyway. David Michael. And I like it. Had a terrific run, called back by a penalty, go right back to him. And Claude Sanders had the pressure, put a stick on Dinwiddie. But Dinwiddie will get credit for another touchdown pass.
Yeah, he will. And David Michael, nice job. But if I'm Pat Hill, I'm pulling those guys out. I'm getting other guys out there who want to play.
And we will watch for that. This has been a tough night, not just for Pat Hill, but for Dan Brown, a defensive coordinator, especially when you think about Brown, who is alma mater is Boise State. He starred here as a linebacker for the Broncos, and now coaching the defense for Fresno State, and they are flat out getting abused. They've hung a 50 spot on Fresno State tonight. 10:41 left in the fourth. It's 54-21 Boise State. Steve Levy, Rod Gilmore, and Heather Cox from Broncos Stadium in Boise, Idaho. And it's all going right for the home team tonight. 54-21 is your score. Tyler Jones has been outstanding for Boise State on his kickoff. And Adam Jennings will take any first down and 10 from the 20 for Fresno State. And let's go down to Heather.
All right, guys, the second highest working group here is these cheerleaders. 54 push-ups. I don't know if I can do it. You got to get off this pretty quick. I might be going to my knees. Seen the cadets do them. I don't know about this.
First and 10, Fresno State at the 20.
Good job, Heather. Heather was working so hard preparing today. I'm not sure she made it to the gym. So getting her workout.
Hey, have you seen the arms on Heather?
She's got the guns going?
She's got the guns. She didn't get 54 done right there, but she was pretty close.
Yeah.
Well, halfway.
We'll check back with Heather. She's out of breath. Pinegar completing. Sideline. Marquade Davis had one man to beat and couldn't. Heather, how are we doing down there? Are we okay? Send oxygen or anything?
You guys are in much better shape than I am. Let's just leave it at that. Bunch of studs back there, and I got noodle arms right now.
Heather, of course, a fine athlete herself in college. An outstanding volleyball player. First down and 10 for Fresno State.
She had great form down there.
Yes, she did. I was waiting for the clap push-up, Rod. I did not notice that.
The one-hander.
Out of the shotgun. You expect to see Pinegar there the rest of the game. Was hit as he released. And excellent coverage down the sideline on Jermaine Jamison, who wants the flag.
Has a good no call. Good no call.
Sports Center is coming up. John Anderson, Linda Cohn, Game 1 countdown of the World Series. Where will Lou Piniella manage next? And Terrell Owens. Rod did his Terrell Owens earlier, pulling a Sharpie out of his sock there. Speaking of the World Series, you know, on our way to Fresno next week, maybe we'll pop by Pac Bell for Game 4 on Wednesday night. What do you think?
I think that would be a good thing to do.
Come up with a couple of ducats.
Drop in and see Barry and all that.
Now that your A's are out of it.
Oh, come on.
All right. Going right over to the Giants, Zoe. Pinegar on the run, throwing and completing to Adam Jennings to the 45. Coming up on 10 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter.
This is still good training for Pinegar. Remember, he's a young quarterback, and I like what I've seen. You know, that long touchdown pass, he was under duress, he kept his cool in the pocket, and he's got to learn how to deal with these situations when you are out of it, but you got to get something going.
There is Jeff Grady, who started the season as the starting quarterback, was banged up. Pinegar came in, played so well, Grady couldn't get the job back. And that pass goes incomplete. Marquez Davis, the intended target, was knocked aside by Quentin Michael. It's a different story. The quarterbacks on the other side for Boise State, when you think about it. I mean, clearly, Dinwiddie was a flat-out star last year, as opposed to Grady, who was really sitting behind David Carr a year ago.
Yeah, and Grady was trying to come in and win the job. Dinwiddie had the job this year. He was the guy. So, different situation. And this guy, you can't say enough for B.J. Rhode and the way he's been so unselfish in handling this whole situation. Even though he played well, he wasn't going to keep the job.
4th down and 3 now for Fresno State. All 4-down territory now. The dump off across the middle. It's good for the first down to Adam Jennings. They are across midfield. And the other thing, the coaching staff really knows that about Rhode, and they said, look, he's done everything we've asked of him and done it well, and yet it's still not going to be his job. And they said that's been the real difficult thing. Not the position Dinwiddie's been in, the spot that Rhode's been in.
Well, but Rhode's handled it well. I mean, he told us last night, he said, hey, you know something? If I'm healthy and Dinwiddie's healthy, he's better. He should play.
And there were concerns about Rhode. You know, he had been inconsistent, but now he's got a lot of reps under his belt, and they feel as if they got 2 good quarterbacks in Boise State. The quarterback of Fresno State lost the football, and the Broncos have it. It's all going right for Boise State tonight. Loa Emsley, the JUCO transfer from Hawaii, comes up with that loose football.
You know, that blue field looks like water, and these guys are like sharks with a bunch of blood out there, and they are getting after Fresno State. They are not quitting. They're making plays. They are playing inspired defense and offense and special teams. Here it is, 54 points on the board, and they're still trying to get another takeaway, and they do.
Pinegar had 2 cracks at that and couldn't come up with it. And the handoff, Donnie Heck gets his first carry of the game. Jason Stewart wrapped him up.
There you go.
Could have used that play in the first quarter.
That's what you're talking about, though. I mean, there's a guy who's stepping up saying, I'm not going out like that. You know, late fourth quarter, I'm going to make a play. We probably got chewed out on the sideline, but hey, I'm not quitting. I'm going to play. There's Jason Stewart showing you a little bit of that. That's a little bit of senior leadership that you need, because you know the game is over. But you got another game, and you got other situations where you got to hang in there.
Fresno State scoring defense, and we were told, I mean, they're back to almost full strength tonight for the first time in the linebacker spot. Adamo Daly's regained his form after missing a couple of games due to a personal absence. Sam Williams is back in the lineup. Garcia and McGill, and this defense has been torn apart tonight. Strophus, who has become a real factor in the pass offense for Boise State on the completion.
You know, I was rough on Fresno State on the last drive, but these 2 plays, they play with more intensity. They have been flying around, trying to get off blocks, trying to get something done the last 2 plays. I suspect that man had something to say to them on the sideline before to let them know, you're not going to finish the game in that sorry fashion. You're going to finish this thing playing hard.
Dinwiddie is 18 of 21, Rod. He's only missed 3 times, and he entered the game early on in the second quarter. Here's Dinwiddie looking for some more points, and he's got them! 6 more! It's Fanucchi again! Touchdown, Broncos! 60 on the board, Rod.
All right, now you know something?
Coming up on the speed limit here.
You don't need it. You don't need it. So why is Boise State doing this? Remember, this is a team that got shut out of the bowl season last year when they were tied with Fresno State. They want to let everybody know, hey, we are better. We have arrived. Our program is here. They're trying to make that statement here tonight before the country.
The Silicon Valley Bowl last year could have taken either school. They took Fresno State, despite Boise State winning in Fresno during the regular season. And the extra point is good. Dinwiddie, I'd say the ankle's okay. Can you say 5 touchdown passes? It's a 40-point game. Tough to imagine this going any better for Ryan Dinwiddie than it is. Even in his wildest imagination, look at the numbers. Keep in mind, he came into the game early in the second quarter. He didn't even start. A career-high 406, 5 touchdown passes.
What do you think he says to Hawkins? I told you so?
I would hope he wouldn't, but he just might. And maybe Heather will ask him that question on our post-game extra on ESPN News.
It's been all Ryan Dinwiddie. B.J. Rhode's a nice quarterback, but this guy is special. You see the deep ball, you see a touch ball, and how about the last touchdown? He puts it there. That's the difference he brings to the Boise State offense, and he brings that kind of attitude, that fiery leadership that you want if you're going to do something special in your Boise State Broncos.
Rod, let me ask you, sportsmanship come into this at any point? You know, throwing the football,
absolutely.
Putting 61 up, national TV. This, you know,
yes.
Fresno State's on national TV just about every game. Boise State gets it once a year, and this is it. And they're making sure the whole country knows what Bronco football is all about.
Yeah, you know, a couple things about that. I said they were doing it because they got snubbed last year. That's their rationalization, I believe. However, I'm not crazy about it, but the other thing is, this is the way the game is going. This is the trend. Everybody is trying to put up as many points as possible. It's a game of points. That was the big influence of Steve Spurrier. It is now going everywhere. NFL, college football.
And people who will not see this game, they'll see the score tomorrow, and it will jump out at you.
Absolutely.
See a 61 points. Wait, this is Fresno State really good? Well, they are, but they haven't been tonight, or tells you how good Boise State is. And maybe we want to give more thought into them cracking into that top 25. Person looking for more. Intercepted off the deflection. Chris Barrios, touchdown. Make it 67.
A pick six in the fourth quarter. We're looking at 70. There is no way in the world Pat Hill ever believed that anybody could hang 67 on his team, especially anybody in the WAC.
Chris Barrios, a redshirt freshman from Upland, California. The 23-yard interception return for a touchdown. It might have been too much celebration.
You know something? You can take the celebration penalty now.
At this point. I don't think Dan Hawkins will be complaining. It'll be very tough for Hawkins to complain about anything. You know, you're right. You talked about the Hawaii game, said it was the great total package. Tough to imagine that surpassed this performance tonight by all three of his units, offense, defense, special teams, although they miss on the lengthy extra point. Check with Heather. Is she doing more push-ups? It's 67-21. If you're scoring at home, we think they're up to some 414 push. Heather is conspicuously absent. Where's Heather now? Right? Heather's not there. Here's Heather's spot. Where's Heather? She is absent. I think she's done for the evening, Heather. Wow.
There she is.
You guys are I was running to get over there. I just missed it. I think there's time for me to get there.
The cheerleaders aren't. Wow, they're going to be in some fun. They're not doing the clap push-ups either, I noticed, Rod.
You know, so 415, you don't need to.
415. 415 push-ups. Wow. You know, I'm serious. You start thinking about forgetting that mid-major poll and start thinking about top 25.
Well, you know, really, you put this in perspective about the Fresno State defense. They gave up 23 to Wisconsin, 28 to Oregon. They had 59 hung on them by Oregon State, but this is unprecedented.
The 67 points. There is still 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It's been a record-setting night all around. In terms of a crowd tonight, Broncos have a school record 676 yards as well. And Pat Hill, boy, you know, I don't know what to say to the troops after this. Do you have to say anything, Rod? I mean, kids know what's going on. Screen pass, Adam Jennings. And Boise State is still banging some bodies on the far side. NFL Countdown on Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern. Chris Berman, Tom Jackson, Sterling Sharp, Steve Young, Chris Mortensen, and Bill Parcells get you ready. They'll look at the Ricky factor. Chris Mortensen will report on the fish and the running game they now have in Miami. And then, of course, NFL Prime Time with Chris Berman and Tom Jackson to review all of your highlights. What a thrilling game that Miami Dolphin game was in Denver against the Broncos.
Oh, my goodness.
Was that great? 2 long field goals. You thought it was one at one end, then down at the other end. Lengthy field goals. That was thrilling NFL action.
Well, you know, the thing you forget about that is the mood swing, the change of emotions that happened so quickly in a short period of time. You think you have it won, and then, oops, now you're depressed. I mean, just that from a human standpoint is amazing.
With 45 seconds left, you think it's ball game, and they move down the field cool and calm. Miami's got a lot of injury issues now. Ray Lucas is going to start at quarterback for the Dolphins.
You see, I'm telling you, you are getting a whole lot of that NFL show.
With the Buffalo Bills coming to town, look out for Drew Bledsoe, the NFL's top passer.
Prime time.
Hand off. Bryson Sumlin will get a carry, and why not? Time to empty the bench here. 6:40 left in the fourth. 67-21, folks. If you want to adjust your television set because of the color on the field, that's one thing, but the score is accurate. Top left corner of your screen.
I tell you, if you look at Boise State, they've been humming along all night long. I mean, offense, defense, special teams.
Right from the outset.
Second down.
On 2nd and 7, Pinegar across the middle, juggled by Sumlin. Boise State, they are still bringing the helmets.
Well, you know, I don't know what to say about it. It's amazing. They have played with so much energy from start to finish. You'd think at some point guys would be a little bit lackadaisical. Not at all. Boise State, they're not cruising in on this thing. Everybody wants a piece of it.
And Dan Hawkins, to me, looks very smart. I mean, obviously, they're up in a big way, but I think the quarterback situation played out perfectly. He made the decision, going to start Rhode. Rhode played very, very well. Gets Dinwiddie in when he wanted to, and Dinwiddie plays great. The ankle's feeling terrific. Everybody's happy. I think Hawkins has managed the situation as best he could.
I think a lot of folks would say he did a great job managing that. I think the only person who isn't happy about it is Dinwiddie. I think Dinwiddie would go up and say, I've been telling you all week I was ready to play, and you made me go out and prove it, and so I did.
And now, you know, I think we'll find out a little something about Pat Hill, right? This is the time when you coach. Come next week, this week of preparation, ESPN 2 cameras will be back at Bulldog Stadium. We'll be in Fresno Friday night on ESPN 2 with high-flying Hawaii in town. And we're going to find out something about the backbone of this Fresno State team.
Well, I think you're right, and they will have to reverse what happened to them last year. Remember, they had the 2-game loss. They lost to Boise State last year and then came right back and lost to Hawaii, even though they still had a lot on the line.
Absolutely.
So they have to get over this one because they still have a shot in the WAC.
And people forget, prior to the 2 losses you just mentioned, I mean, Pat Hill has said, hey, you know, we win those 2 games, somebody's got to make a very difficult decision, the BCS boys. I mean, they could have really shaken things up a year ago, but it has not gone that way this season for Hill and his Bulldogs.
Well, he told us the other day that there was no revenge involved in this game, that only 17 players who played in that game are back this year. I don't buy it. You know, a couple of weeks ago, he had told us, hey, you know, that loss to Boise State last year ate at him a long time in the offseason because they were so close to challenging the BCS.
Pinegar will show the screen to Jamison. Incomplete pass. Juggled it and could not hang on. And I would say, Rhode, if this was not a full-fledged rivalry after last season, both teams tied for second in the WAC, and Fresno State maybe, got the nod going to the bowl game. Boise State didn't. I would say hanging 67 on them tonight would certainly fuel the fire come next season.
And not just hanging 67, it's Dinwiddie going deep when the game is no longer in doubt. You got what, 54, 53, and you go deep to get to 60.
Third down and 19. Pinegar has been picked off twice. That was really something he had going for him coming into this game, the lack of turnovers, but obviously trying to make something happen, and he does, to Duncan Reed for the first down, and we go down to Heather.
Well, the mood on the bench, no surprise for Fresno State, not even celebrating the completion by Pinegar just there. It is quiet. It is dejected. There is absolutely no communication, no motivation. And you guys, Pat Hill said this isn't a revenge match, but I talked to plenty of players throughout the week, and they said, yeah, we have a lot to prove. We haven't played on this blue turf, and we have got to show the Broncos what we're all about. But, as Rod said, they got to shake it off and prepare for a very offensive-minded Hawaii team next week.
Yeah, you look at this tape, if you're June Jones in Hawaii, I mean, you got to be salivating at the tape that you're going to look at.
And if you're Pat Hill, I think Heather's right. You forget about it, you burn the tape. I don't know that you even watch it. When this thing is there, you don't want your guys going into next week going, yeah, we're really bad. We're not as good as we think we are. I think you go, it wasn't our night. We didn't play well. We didn't play hard. It's over with. Let's get ready for Hawaii.
And does Jones show Hawaii the tape? Maybe there's a fear of getting his guys overconfident.
I think he shows the first half only.
You don't want them to lose maybe their poise going in. Hey, they just had 67 hung on them. 4:20 to go here in the fourth. Hand off, and there's a good idea, keeping the clock moving. Bryson Sumlin.
But you make a good point because, players are human. They see this stuff, and a coach can tell them as much as he wants, hey, that team over there had a bad night. They're really, really good. And the players are still going, come on, we're gonna dodge those guys. I watched the tape. We're better than they are. And that's what you don't want to have happen if you're June Jones in Hawaii.
Seems like a long time ago that Boise State had their first possession and they punted. They then went on to score 11 of their next 12 possessions. And when you put 67 up there, don't think there were a whole lot of field goals. Here's Pinegar going to go down. Sack. Dropped at the 42. It's the fourth sack of the night.
I thought it was Chris Carr coming.
Jared Orich was also there.
Yeah,
the sophomore.
Yeah, he may get credit, but I thought Chris Carr was coming off the corner on a blitz out of the secondary. And that's one of those deals where you say, okay, Fresno, you don't want to run out the clock and go home. You want to keep throwing the ball? We're going to come after your quarterback.
Orich is listed as 6'1", 203. Rod, did you know there was a Syracuse, Utah? No. That says, Syracuse, New York, but looks like Syracuse, Utah. Huh. We're emptying out the information here, Rod. I've got some Dannies for you. Pinegar still fighting. And it will just go as an incomplete pass there. And Boise State will take over on down.
Rod, did they run out the clock?
Boise actually comes from the French word "le bois," which means the trees. I went through the media guide just in case we had a 67-21 game in the fourth quarter. Boise is also one of just 10 cities in the U.S. to host a bowl game, be home to a Division 1A football and basketball team, and support at least 3 pro sports franchises. Mike Sanford now in the game at quarterback. Somebody new to talk to. Donnie Heck is the ball carrier. I would say tomorrow night's game figures to be an awful lot more competitive than the one we have here. It's Notre Dame, it's Air Force. We've got 10 undefeateds heading into the weekend. We're assured of one thing. One of those is going to go down, Notre Dame and Air Force. Notre Dame's defense has allowed only 11 points per game this season. The Falcons are averaging 40 points per game. You could say
something's got to give.
You could say that.
But we won't. And that Notre Dame defense ranked number 5
right
in the rush defense, and the Air Force offense number 1. Again, you could say something's gotta give.
You want some more Boise information, Rod?
No.
67 points tonight. That is their most since they jumped up to Division 1A, which happened in 1996.
Wait a minute.
When they came out of the Big West.
I've got some Boise information for you that's a little bit more pertinent.
Give it to me.
Well, they are ranked number 1 in the category of institutions with highest student-athlete graduation rate above the average of the student body. Hey, academically oriented, getting it done in Boise.
That they are.
Actually, the WAC did very well in that survey of academic achievement awards.
Those are your mid-major schools that are a lot better than the BCS big boy conferences in terms of academics. And every coach we visit, they always say, hey, you know, it's student-athlete, not athlete-student. And we've got some 60 seconds, and it's all over but the crying.
What else you got over there?
Let's see. Do you know that Boise State, they won the 1958 Junior College National Championship? They dominated the Big Sky in the 70s, Rod, winning the title 4 times in a 5-year span.
You're not taking anything back on the plane with you.
Won the Division I AA National Championship in 1980. And again in 96, joined Division 1A as a member of the Big West. And here they are, putting a WAC-style hurting on the team many feel is the power in the WAC.
Not any longer.
A very proud Fresno State team, and this will be difficult to accept in the Valley. And quite frankly, they ought to be just thrilled to see us next Friday night, right? We ought to get quite a rousing ovation when we hit town and get off the airplane.
I'll hide behind you.
What hotel are we staying at again? Probably should not disclose that. 7 seconds left, 688 yards, 67 points for Boise State. It could not have gone any better for head coach Dan Hawkins, his 2 quarterbacks, Ryan Dinwiddie, who threw for 5 touchdown passes, and B.J. Rhode.
Well, again, I think Ryan Dinwiddie was just fantastic, but I don't want to overlook Darren College. You talk about a lineman having a great game. He dominated and set the tone for what was going on up front for Fresno State's defensive line, I'm sorry, about the Fresno State defensive line, losing to the Boise State offensive line.
That was expected to be the big showdown tonight. The matchup in the middle. They're the coaches getting together. Ryan Dinwiddie said he would talk to Heather Cox on the field after we win. He said it yesterday. Well, we're coming up. We'll find out. ESPN News will have a post-game extra for you. Dinwiddie, 19 of 22, 406, 5 scores coming off the bench. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in